Okay, now we are back. I did make sure it worked. Windows was messing up. Windows was not working with the OBS bot cam. It was weird because it was there, it was responding to me, but it wasn't throwing up in OBS. It's always Windows that has most of the problems in my uh streams and everything, isn't it? It's always Windows. Everyone's like, your shit would work better if it would work fine if it's on Windows. No, Windows is 90% of the issues that we have in my stream. The only issue I usually have on Linux on the stream, remembering to split the audio channel to go to the HDMI capture card and the mixer so I can hear it. That's the only thing. That's just a matter of Pebcac issues. What's up, Just Dev? Pete Hegseth has entered the chat. Did he bring his wife? I hear he brings his wife to his meetings now. Like, dude, seriously? I can't believe that schmuck is the head of the Department of Defense. Like, I don't know if y'all saw, I had an hour-long... He moved from Chrome to Firefox. Welcome to the club, buddy. I don't know if y'all saw, but I did come out with a hour-long expose on the whole Signalgate thing. And it took me about a week writing that script because things kept developing, and I wanted to make sure to address all the whataboutism. Because I knew people were going to be like, well, what about Barack Obama's BlackBerry? What about Hillary Clinton's email server? And I'm like, we're going to get into all of this. This way from now on, if anyone, starts asking you, well, all that, you can point them to my video. Or, or I can point them to my video as well now, because a lot of people are having the stupid whataboutism. And as you've probably seen from now, I don't give a crap if you're a Democrat or a Republican. Wrong is wrong. Period. And what Hillary did and what Trump did were wrong in different ways. Barack Obama, at least, was like, no, I want my personal smartphone. And it was like an unknown situation at the time because, we're talking about the age of BlackBerry. This was like pre-iPhone and Android being everywhere. And there were serious questions around, is it secure enough? So they basically, came up with the Barackberry, the isolated BlackBerry that was locked down and everything. So I wanted to go into that. And, yeah. Crackberry. Yeah, I miss my Crackberry. Honestly, if given the opportunity, I would much rather, what happened to TikTok? I had to restart the stream completely because my Windows box needed to be rebooted because I'm going to be doing some soldering, and I had the issue that for some reason my camera that I use to point down on when I'm doing soldering and everything wasn't working. It no worky. So, let's get this stuff out of the way. So we're going to give this new soldering iron a whirl. And I'll give my thoughts on TikTok and everything because Fantic was nice enough to send me a sample unit so I can try these out. Get my little helper hands out here. Helper hands always are a helping hand. And make sure I got the USB cable over here. Yep, there's a spare slot in the Pine Power there. Cool. Alright. Alrighty. Now what I'm curious is, how am I going to position this? I too miss my BB. Oh, the BlackBerry. Yeah, BlackBerries were absolute. God damn it! This is what I hate about the OBS way they did it. This down arrow doubles as a down arrow on a keyboard, so you always have to like click away on whatever you're doing, and it's dumb that way. All right. Cool. So that's set up there. I'll get a glorious crotch shot in unintentionally. And we have a couple of test soldering kits here. So these were also picked up through the TikTok shop. I got a couple more that looked interesting. I just saw a bunch of different things that were coming on. Sparks by Carhartt. I wish. Actually, I don't have much Carhartt stuff. Only shit I've got is stuff I've got is from trying to figure out what's the easiest one to go about doing, because they have this little Bluetooth speaker one, and I really just want to do a test. So this is their little radio. Few steps in here. Let's see the schematic chart. So it's an FM radio, not an AM radio. About 29 steps in here. Okay. Whereas, let's see the Bluetooth one. Tell us how you love your mother. I love her, I just don't like her. Can't stand her. I miss LG phones. LG phones used to be good. So I will say this. The instructions on the FM radio are much better. What's USAID? It's an international, It's an international, what do you call it? I forgot. It's just an international organization that I think Kennedy spun up to help with American interests and everything like that. So it was basically a way for us to get soft power in other countries. Cute. All right, let's see. I have 2 Carhartt hoodies and a t-shirt, all of which I was given. I mean, they're good stuff, but they're just a little bit expensive from what I noticed. Then again, I go out and I buy 511 stuff. So, in terms of beginner soldering projects, I'd probably go with the FM radio over here. It's a lot simpler than the Bluetooth speaker, as well as the fact that this is pictured. Ever played Warframe? Yes, that took too much of my life. So we're gonna at least get a couple of solders in. Try this out. Doesn't look like we have too many components here. We have a case. So step 1 is 47 ohm metal film resistors. So I've used the Pine Sol for a while. Here, I will move that camera down for y'all. Where did I just put the remote? There it is. Played the new War Quest? I have not. I have not had a lot of time. I was going to do Path of Exile 2 in a little bit, because I know there's some new stuff there. Yeah, I think Warframe... How many hours did I have into Warframe? Only 276 hours. Only. Did you know that Ethiopia is going to invade Eritrea, as it will give them direct access to the Red Sea instead of the railway they use? This will be an apocalyptic event if it occurs. That whole region's been messed up for years, unfortunately. Alright, so we have the Fantech little cordless soldering iron. We're going to try this out, see how well this works. So obviously we're going to need a tip. It has this little station over here. It's off camera. We have a tip tinner, a tip cleaner, and I've got some flux over here. See if I really need the flux, though. Initial impressions with the little Fantech cordless soldering iron, not too bad. Looked like it came with 2 chisel tips. Yep. I'll just use one of the chisel tips. Alright. So we've got that. And okay, so they do have the board nicely labeled at least, which should make my life easy. Once I actually get these arms, do what I want. Okay, yeah, that should be good enough with my magnifying light and everything. Let's see if I can get that in closer for y'all. And hold on. See if I can. There we go. It's always just the setup that's the bitch and a half, but okay, there we go. We have a little DIY radio that was sent in by one of the little TikTok vendors, and I'm just seeing, is it actually that good? Okay, so it looks like, okay, we're gonna need 7 resistors. Okay. So it looks like, I mean, they could have better put all this in the bag, because it's just kind of all together, so they all get kind of mashed up in shipping. Nothing looks broken, it's just a little bit of a pain is all. So we've got 7 resistors over here. I'm going to start with soldering that. I don't know if I'm going to finish the solder project tonight, but I'm at least just trying to do a test of the soldering iron itself to gauge that. So these are some through-hole components, so we're just going to run these through, and then what I'll do is I'll twist them out. So we'll just bend that a little bit just to hold it in place. Okay, let's place all 7 resistors out here. There's 7 47 ohm resistors. I mean, all in all, this looks like a nice little project board for us to get started with. I'm also trying to just keep my soldering skills up to par. Because, what was it, a few months ago, I did my first solder job in God knows how long. And while it worked, I was like, man, I was sloppy. Pull this back to the regular camera so we can see my lovely face while I'm doing this. And then we'll switch back while I do the actual soldering. So the one thing I will say with the new soldering iron we're testing, because I'm comparing it just so that you understand what my reference is, to the Pine Sol little soldering iron I've been using for many years. This is a cordless soldering iron that Fantic talks about, and I've seen it advertised all over TikTok, and I reached out to them and I was like, do you mind sending me one so I can do a test on it? Give it, a thumbs up, a thumbs down. So we've got 4 resistors so far in. You know what I still haven't seen is the final episode of Severance for this season. I just haven't gotten around to seeing it. Still trips me up whenever I watch Severance because I'm used to that actor playing Ben Wyatt on Parks and Recreation and not seeing him in very serious roles. Now, resistors don't matter the orientation you put them in. Diodes do. Capacitors, I think, do as well. So, some of these may look upside down compared to the rest of them, but it works. I also don't have my diagonal cutters, my wire cutters. I'm going to need to get some of those. I need to find where I put them because I need to cut off these loose leads and everything. I've been considering a Pine Sol. The Pine Sol has been really good. I've had mine for 3 years. Let me put these 2 resistors in, and then I will show you my Pine Sol setup. Because I 3D printed a case for it. I've taken it literally around the world with me and repaired electronics in various different countries. I used it when I was in Morocco. I used it when I was in Portugal. It's always funny whenever TSA pulls it out of my carry-on. Because they're like, why do you have a soldering iron? I'm like, I work in tech. You never know when you're going to need to fix a circuit. No questions about the Flipper Zero when I brought that with me, though. To be fair, the Flipper Zero is really just a fun toy, too. I think people overhyped a lot of the scares and concerns around it. Oh, all these hackers are going to carry around these little tools and everything. And I'm like, it's really no different than what we were doing already. It's just a little bit more convenient is all. Okay, so we at least have that set up. So I just got to solder that. Let me set up this board, and I will show you the Pine Sol that I have, and we'll compare it to the Fantic. So the Fantic has an analog dial, I noticed, versus the Pine Sol is digital. The Pine Sol also is powered by RISC-V. You know I like my RISC. Okay, get that set up over there. 3 arms should be enough. Okay, so this is the Pine Sol little case that I have. I've used this for 3 years. It's been to 2 DEF CONs with me. Although when I'm at DEF CON, I don't really do soldering because a lot of the soldering projects, I'm like, I can do that when I'm home. So I 3D printed a case, and the only things I had to add, of course, that aren't 3D printed was the Pine Sol itself, the 2 tips that are in here. This one keeps getting knocked out. Yeah, it's just because it moves horizontally. So this is actually a little soldering station. So you have your tip cleaner over here, desoldering braid, and then over here you have a spool of soldering wire in here, which I will be using. And then I have the soldering iron stand, which you just stick in there, and it's made out of a rollerblade bearing and a screw and a nut in there to capture it. So that works out pretty well. Hey, what's up, Pablo? Oh yeah, that reminds me, I should make an announcement. What 3D printer do you use these days? Oh, I use a Prusa Mark III's. I haven't upgraded my 3D printer because I don't do as much 3D printing these days, but it's still damn near reliable that I just turn it on and do whatever I need with it. And yeah, I know there's better 3D printers out there. I mean, you even have the Prusa Mark IV and everything, but if it works for my needs right now. I don't need anything fancy. Yeah, I have two Prusa Mark III's. They work perfectly fine. Even then, most of them are idle these days. Hey, Mario, how's it going? Get my blue sky alert out. I still gotta set up that thing. Flipper Zero, is that the universal remote thing? It's this. It's this little fun toy over here that has RFID, NFC, there's a GPIO so you can add Wi-Fi into it. It has IR blasting capabilities and Bluetooth. It doesn't have Wi-Fi built in. It's fun to play with, but a lot of that you can do without a Flipper Zero. It's just more convenient because of all the how small the package is. Alright, let's see. Alright, that's posted on Blue Sky at least, so that if anyone's there and wants to come in, they can. Alright, so we've got this little soldering iron here. We've got the base station with a little bit of water. Can you use Flipper Zero as a credit card? No. Credit card systems require a little bit more these days. Because the NFC, I think, does, what is it, a rolling... The NFC on a credit card's a little bit different than just a standard NFC. Contactless payments, you still need, if you want to use something other than the credit card, you need to have, what's the word? Oh yeah, I forgot. You kind of have this little thing to be a little sticky on there. Yeah, you need like Google Wallet or Apple Pay because it needs an actual connection. There's something with the encryption, if I recall. He looked into this a while ago, like years ago. So I'm like not as up and up on the memory and everything. But you need to you can't clone it because there is like some kind of cryptography built into it. Similar to like passports and stuff. You can't just you know clone them. One day you might be able to. Okay. So let's see if we can tin this. So that soldering iron should be smoking. So it does have a green light to tell when it's ready. Okay. I just got, these are brand new, so I have a little cleaner and tip tinner. This little stuff right here. So I just use that to tin the tip a little bit. Now it does have a little bit of a light over here, so let's see if we can use that possibly instead. Let me turn off this light over here and compare. Okay. Turn off the soldering iron. It warmed up quite fast. Let's at least get a little test with this guy. Okay, so there is a little bit of a light here. It's not all that bright. So, I mean, it'll add a little bit to where you're at. You're still going to want to supplement the light. So, it's better than nothing, but you're still going to want something. Okay. So it does work for a good little solder. I'll show you my work 1 second. First solder. Oh, I can get in really close. I don't know if you can see the first solder joint. It worked. I didn't put any flux down because I'm a schmuck. Hold on. I got so many cables over here. Okay. So we got our first solder in. It worked. Now I'm going to actually try to do this proper with a little bit of flux over here. So we got some flux. Just some basic, no clean. No stretch. Oh, that's going to be hard to do, seeing as, well, I worked out yesterday, and my triceps and my abs are feeling it. My credit card also have raised letters, too. So I've noticed a lot of credit cards these days are not coming out with, what do you call it? They're not coming with raised letters anymore. My recent credit cards I've all been getting don't have any, raised, numbers at all. Like, people are just not, what's the word? Doing, the raised numbers were for if power went out, you would be able to manually run the card. I don't know if anyone's ever done that in retail. I've done that a couple of times where you have to take down their credit card and then pipe it into a machine. Because that's how credit cards used to be done back in the day. Too much flux, but ain't gonna hurt anything. It looks kind of like Vaseline. My pecs have been screaming since Wednesday, so I hear ya. Yeah. How you doing, by the way? Your dad playing? Yeah, I did a nice workout yesterday. I've been trying to get back into regularly doing things. And, yeah, it's been a little bit of an effort. So this soldering iron does heat up pretty damn fast. So that's good news. The bad news is, no matter how good your soldering iron, it doesn't fix the fact that I suck. Alright. A little tip tinner, tip cleaner. Balled up at the end here. It feels like it needs to be a little bit hotter than I'm used to with the pine sol. Yeah. See, now we're cooking with fire. See, with the pine sol, I could run it at a lower temperature, it felt. Yeah, with flux, makes it a little bit easier. Okay. Nope, nope, nope. About to short that. There we go. So overall, it feels like a decent soldering iron. You got a good selection of tips. But like I said, this is a practice kit that I'm doing so I can up my solder game. Probably help if I do the magnifying glass there. Yeah, it helps out quite a bit. Because I felt like I was overflowing it. Yeah, okay. Overall, it's not a bad soldering iron. It takes some getting used to. It's definitely a little bulkier than what I'm used to with the Pine-Sol. So here, let's get you a better view of how that solder job looks. Now remember, it's not the cleanest in the world, but these are just so I can up my practice and everything. Not too bad. I still got to cut the ends. I got to get some diagonal cutters. I couldn't find them before the stream went up. Did some push-ups earlier this week. My right arm hurt. Yeah, well, no pain, get no gain. Yeah, those are good, solid connections. So I did notice that I had to... Normally I have it around 420 degrees Celsius when it comes to the Pine-Sol. The Pine-Sol is definitely a lot smaller and more nimble. Because, here, I'll just show you what I mean. I kind of like the tips better in the Pine-Sol. The Pine-Sol's also a lot cheaper. So, you see, this is like holding a pencil in your hand. It's a lot easier to work with. Whereas, you're dealing with this. This feels like you're dealing with a Dremel. If you've ever had to deal with Dremel tools and stuff like that, it's not so bad. It's still, you know, it's about the size of a regular soldering iron anyway. So I guess I'm just unfairly comparing it to the Pine-Sol that I'm so used to. But I think this setup is like $50. It's cordless. So the nice thing is, as to compare to the Pine-Sol, when I travel with the Pine-Sol, I always have to worry about having a USB-C battery that can deliver at least 30 watts. Not that big a deal, but it is a consideration. Whereas this, you don't have to. And this has an ample battery. This is running a RISC-V CPU on here, and you can adjust the temperature down to the singular degree. So I normally have it at like 420 to 450 degrees Celsius. This jumps from like, right, Fahrenheit, I think is what I'm doing. Hold on, I gotta plug this in for a sec to see something. I just want to see, am I being a schmuck? Holy crap. I was like, I knew there was a USB-C PD cable around here, but I guess I'll just borrow the one that's in here. Just didn't want to have to wrap that back up if possible. It also cools extremely fast. The Pine-Sol does too, so they both must have a ceramic core. Also, I wish for the day where cybernetics are cheap and just as effective as a normal limb. Okay. Sounds like JP from Grandma's Boy. I want robot legs. Never seen that movie? You definitely should. Okay, so the Pine-Sol in comparison, you boot it up, it gives you this little screen here. and then you press the button, it heats up immediately. So as you can see, I have it in Celsius. I think I have this a lot hotter than I do, okay, yeah, so this is at 420 degrees Celsius. That's what was throwing me off. Now 415. So yeah, it's at the 415 mark. Put a little tip tinner on there. Clean that off so we don't oxidize the tip. Yeah, that cools down quite fast. So, that is one thing that annoys me with the fan tick. It's in Fahrenheit. I like my metric. I like my civilized units. So 420C to F. 788 degrees Fahrenheit. Okay. So that's an unfair comparison there. I had it on a low setting because I usually have it kind of hot. Come to think of it, I probably don't even need it that hot. That cools down quite quick though. So overall, the fan tick is quite nice, although the only thing that really annoys me with it is that freaking Fahrenheit thing. I really think that when you're using a lot of these technical tools, they should come with a Celsius system in there as well. Because a lot of times, if you're doing anything on the technical side of things, you're going to be using metric. And for the Americans out there like, no, I do everything in Fahrenheit. Look, you're in the minority here. The majority of the world is in metric. Anyone here hate Carbon Black as much as me? Ruined my weekend. You mean the TV show Carbon Black? I haven't seen that in a minute. I don't think I even finished it. So overall, the Fantech soldering iron isn't bad. I think it's a good soldering iron. But I would probably stick to the Pine Sol if I were to have a... I would stick to the Pine Sol if I had a soldering station, kind of like what I do, where I can sit down and do things. But the Fantech on the go might be better. I don't know if they have a case for that. Used to be a VMware product. Oh. Not familiar with it then. There was a TV show called Carbon Black, though. So yeah, I'm definitely going to finish up these soldering projects another evening, because I do have to review these projects individually as well. I also have one that's a power supply that will allow me to convert 12 volt DC to 20 volt DC, which will be useful for a few other things. And it never hurts to have a power supply out there. Well enough to remember when you had to place the card on carbon paper and slide the thunk the machine back and forth. Oh yeah, I remember doing that when the power went out. I remember when I used to work at Staples, we had to do that a couple nights when the power went out and systems like that. I remember that. I remember when growing up, my mom had to do that. Yeah. This cools down quite fast, the Pine Sol. So as you can see, I could touch it with my fingers. It's lukewarm. Overall, the Pine Sol, I think, is what, a $20 device? I definitely recommend it. I would either recommend, in all honesty, the Fantech cordless or the Pine Sol as a soldering iron. I don't know if I would necessarily recommend either one in, say, like your job requires soldering consistently, although I hear a lot of people have said a lot of great things when it comes to the Pine Sol. as an everyday device in a more commercial environment, like people who are doing device repair as part of their business regularly. Um, but because I think like at that point you might need like a solder rework station, like a Hako or something like that. There's of course some really heavy duty products out there. But of course, people that are more qualified than I am when it comes to device repair that have actually done this on the daily, feel free to, chime in on that. I'm merely giving the perspective of the hobbyist that solders a thing once in a while. I probably only solder a dozen or 2 dozen times a year in different projects. So, it's not something I regularly do. When I was a little kid, I used to solder things all the time because I remember growing up, we had to solder different components for motherboards and things like that. Sometimes we'd have to solder in new BIOS chips when you needed to do repairs because, you did a bad BIOS upgrade. Yeah, it's fun to do that kind of work on computer repair, but it's a little bit tedious as well. Some people are, really into the tedium kind of things and, analyzing everything. Now, I have a feeling as I get deeper and deeper into soldering, into amateur radio and everything, I'm probably going to be soldering some more stuff. I did find a kit that I'm looking at, which is a CW decoder. CW is what they also call Morse code. You don't actually need Morse code to. You learned Morse code already? No, I have not. I'm going to teach myself that. The FCC apparently does not have the requirement of learning Morse code anymore to become an amateur radio operator. So that is something I'm going to teach myself just so that I can understand it. Or at least do it. And then I'm going to get an electronic keyer and everything. Trump may force the FCC to do that. Trump would actually need to know his butt from a hole in the ground before he can recommend anything on the FCC level. But yeah, overall, this Pine-Sol soldering set here has served me really well. The only thing that I can't carry in here is flux in the tip tinner that I was showing y'all. But overall, the Fantech kit is pretty nice. You'll just need to get yourself some tip tinner as well, like I mentioned. The tip tinner and cleaner. So I just stuck that onto my little helping hands over here. We'll get into some more soldering projects and things over time. I just wanted to at least get that out of the way because I wanted to do it last stream, but the issue was, well, I didn't have the flux and everything, and I'm like, I probably should get the flux. I probably should get the tip tinner cleaner and all that. But yeah, I know you can tin your soldering iron with just the solder itself, but eh. Oh, and then tomorrow I should finally have the backplate for the laptop. Oh, that was just what I was talking about. So no, Reform Timo, I will have the backplate. It looks like tomorrow. PCBWay did ship that in, so I will probably install it tomorrow evening, test it out myself. For those of you that aren't aware what I'm talking about, there is this MNT Pocket Reform little laptop over here, which is a fully open source laptop, Raspberry Pi 2040 system controller, an iMX8M quad core, iMX8M Plus quad core CPU inside of here, completely upgradable ARM CPU. So I can eventually put like an RK3588 in here, and there's also a slot for a SIM card, as well as an M.2 slot for a 4G or 5G cell modem, and an NVMe SSD. So the issue that I've been running into is this backplate, as you can tell, has copper impregnated into it. Well, we had learned from the community, so there's copper underneath here that uses the heatsink to dissipate the heat. The issue is there's copper throughout this PCB here, so it's acting like a Faraday cage and basically trapping in the Wi-Fi. So it can really only shoot out here, and between the overheating and the Faraday cage effect, the Wi-Fi is dropping on this dramatically. Like, I'm literally next to my wireless access point. Not literally, but I'm close enough where all of my devices have at least not 80-90% signal, and it's dropping. So I'm going to be replacing the back plate. Hopefully the measurements and everything came out perfectly fine. And they do have an update, so when you do buy the MNT Pocket Reforms now, they have the new back plates they're working on will be with PCB, the copper only in the middle here, and then over here will just be straight PCB. When would you use the laptop over a regular laptop? When I'm traveling, especially on a plane. So I'm hoping this will be the laptop I mostly use when I'm at DEF CON. Because, let's put it this way. At DEF CON, you don't have a table to really sit down and take notes when you're in a talk. So you're kind of like sitting down with a little laptop and typing notes out. Or I'm at a cafe. Times when I don't want to take up a full space with my Librem 14 or my Tuxedo Computer Stellara Slim 15, I still will be using the Stellara Slim for editing, the Librem for a little bit more. So I want you to stream on that in the middle of nowhere via LTE. I don't think this will be able to do the streaming. But I think this will be a great device for when I travel. So imagine when I'm going to work, I don't need to bring my full laptop anymore. Or, yeah. Because when I go to work, I'm already carrying my work laptop. So I don't want to carry a full-on laptop just for me to tinker around and do my little things. Because, like, what I do when I'm at work, often with my personal computers, is when I have downtime, I'm working on, content scripts, things like that, and, refining and tweaking. Like, that's how I managed to work on the Signalgate script. That was 19 pages long. And that YouTube video is just slightly over an hour. Do not expect deep dive videos like that from me all that often. It was the reason why that video, by the way, was out of the norm of what I'm planning to do. My average video moving forward, I'm hoping, is going to be no more than 30 minutes, but probably in the sweet spot of 10 to 25 minutes on average, depending on the topic, is the Signalgate thing. There was so much to get into, and while I was writing the Signalgate thing out, I was realizing a lot of people, because this is the stupid thing as a cybersecurity professional when you're dealing with issues of cybersecurity. People only root and think it's an issue with, they only are concerned with the issues when the other team's messing up. Whereas if you're in cybersecurity, I don't care if you're Republican or Democrat or Libertarian or Green or whatever party you belong to. If you mess up on cybersecurity, I'm going to call you out regardless. And I, remember just when I was talking about Signalgate, well, people are like, well, what about Hillary Clinton's emails? And I'm having to explain consistently, yes, that was a bad situation, but what's going on with Signalgate is even worse for a multitude of reasons. Or I even had a couple of people push back on me like, well, Barack Obama had a BlackBerry and they let him use, do texts and all that from his phone. It's like I had to get into that. And then you had, what's your 6 with the cheese? And then also, while I was writing that, there was the revelation that Pete Hegseth had a Russian email. Then there was the revelation that, not revelation, but then they were like, well, Elon Musk is probing into the whole thing. And I'm like, well, Elon Musk is not qualified for cybersecurity. I don't know if people remember this, but Tesla, what was this, in 2016, Keen Security Labs had a black hat paper, and I go over this in the video, where they were able to remotely take over a Tesla because the entire car ran as root for everything. Everything, the infotainment, the automated driving, AI, LLM, whatever the hell you want to call it, every part of the car was running as root. Yeah, it was really bad. And they managed to figure out how to connect in and remotely control the car. Like, we're talking braking, acceleration, everything about the car. And that prompted them to do a major security update later on in 2016. Now, they did do ethical disclosure with Tesla, but that's a prime example of Elon Musk is not qualified for cybersecurity, on top of all the things we've heard about with Doge, when he misinterpreted COBOL. Wait, Teslas are drive-by-wire? Parts of them are. Yeah, parts of them are. I remember that was a big concern when I was looking at them. I don't know if the steering was drive-by-wire, but I believe the acceleration and braking was. I find it funny how many users keep coming in and like, why'd you block this one person? Well, if I'm blocking somebody, that means you really pushed my button. Because I think y'all know I'm pretty tolerant of a lot of things. And it's like, buddy, just move on with your life. It's a motor. How can you not have it drive-by-wire for acceleration? That is a good point. I'm trying to think. I mean, you could do a manual, but yeah, it would have to be drive-by-wire because it's not like a electrical engine where you have a throttle body that controls mechanically. Wasn't there a notable figure that ended due to an alleged malfunction with the acceleration and braking? Potentially. If you donate $5, would you shave your beard and eyebrows? $5? No. Add 3 zeros to it, maybe. I mean, you all want people to do stupid shit for $5? Go to Johnny Somali's stream. That dude is getting himself in jail for $5. Have y'all been paying attention to what Johnny Somali did? Like, I've never seen his streams, but I've been seeing the news about his streams, and oh my god! Have you seen the new Commodore with Linux running Vision OS? Wait, what? There's a Commodore running Linux? That just seems blasphemous to me. Gotta check this out. Hold on. Let's see. You said Commodore. What's up, Honey Badger? How's it going? Vision OS. I'll bring it up on screen. I just gotta find it. Commodore OS Vision was a publicly available distribution which was used as a default install on their new Commodore branded line of computers, including the Commodore C64X. Huh. I have never seen this. I mean, it makes sense, though. Because if you're trying to, do We updated with C64 and Amiga ROMs to become Commodore compatible. Is it running actual Commodore hardware or like... That's what I'm trying to figure out. Oh, they released the 2.0. The C64X. How much does this go for? This is about $200. Thank you for the follow, Honey Badger. Trying to get some help and info about a problem I'm having with the PC, if you don't mind me asking. I know I'm new and it's rather odd to just hop in a community and ask for help. Not odd at all in this community. In fact, if you want, you can join the Discord server where we're pretty active in there, talking about tech and often help each other out. There is the Matrix server as well. It's not as big as the Discord server, but that's kind of, you know, what we're about. Tech, tinkering, and all that. What Linux distro do you recommend for total beginners? So the one I'm using, Pop! OS, is super beginner friendly. It's also good for advanced users as well. I like it because I'm a former Mac user. So as you can see, the layout is very similar to a Mac in the way that I have it set up. It's Pop! OS is a fork of Ubuntu that is based on, it's made by System 76. The same company that makes this laptop, System 76, which is my old but still good AMD Ryzen powered laptop. This is a 5700U. This is their Pangolin laptop. They make great laptops, but I recently got a Tuxedo computer laptop. Tuxedo OS is another one that's worthwhile checking out. I think it's another Ubuntu fork, maybe Debian. But it's using KDE as the desktop environment, whereas Pop! OS is using GNOME. I can save money now, one could eat, getting money in the daytime, even counting when I sleep. Waking up to getting bread, bitch, I do this for the streets. ADHD. I can save money now, one could eat, getting money in the daytime, even counting when I sleep. Waking up to getting bread, bitch, I do this for the streets. ADHD. Back-to-back subs. Thank you for that, Just Dev and Honey Badger. Appreciate you both. Opinion on Ubuntu dropping GNU core utils. Okay, I gotta refresh my memory because my brain's all on ham because I've been studying for my general and eventually amateur extra license. So, GNU core utils consists of... Hold on, I'm just making sure. It's shell utils and all that. Well, I don't know how I feel about Ubuntu dropping that. I know that people are trying to drop a lot of the GNU stuff in favor of Rust-written versions, but I'm not sure if that is, if Rust is not going with, if GNU is not going with Rust, or what the story is behind there. Hold on. Let me check that. Oh, yep, that's what it is. That's what I thought it exactly was. Okay. So they're planning to swap GNU core utils for Rust. So... let me put it this way. All right. I'm a fan of Rust. I haven't really written much of anything in Rust. I don't do a lot of programming. I'm more on the cybersecurity engineering side, so most of my day consists of PowerShell, Bash, Batch, and Python. Okay? So keep that in the context there. But from what I know with Rust, is it has more stringent requirements around memory, not utilization, but like allocation and all that. So it requires more of a secure framework. Correct me if I'm wrong, if anyone knows about this better than I do. So that we can actually lessen the potential vulnerabilities from memory leaks and overflows and stuff like that. So overall, I'm a fan of us moving more and more towards Rust. I know there's some pushback there from the C guys that, you know, want to have more C stuff, but languages evolve, they change, they improve over time. So I think Rust is probably where we're going to be heading towards for a lot of things. I know Pop OS, when they come out with 2404, is because they're still on 2204 and they're backporting changes. The big thing with 2404 is they want Cosmic Desktop in there, which is a fork of GNOME written in Rust. And I'd like to see that because the GNOME Foundation has just been kind of slacking, in my opinion, on a lot of things. Taking over memory leaks is less likely. Okay, cool. No issue, I'm glad I'm just finding someone willing to help. Yeah. You have Ryzen on my on your main laptop? Yeah, I like AMD CPUs a lot more. If I'm not going with ARM or eventually RISC-V, then I'm usually preferring Ryzen. My newest laptop, which is in the recording booth over there, that is running a Ryzen 7 8845HS with a Radeon 780M GPU in there, and it also has an NVIDIA 4070. The honest truth, I'm going to tell you all this, I am really blown away with AMD's capabilities that I almost never turn the NVIDIA GPU on in that laptop. I think I've turned it on like 10 times in the several weeks that I've had it, and that was because there were some LLMs that I was using that actually can get a little bit more oomph from the NVIDIA GPU. But as far as rendering videos, that Mozilla video that I released on YouTube, that is focused, that one was done completely on the laptop as part of the test. Now, the most recent one, that was using NVIDIA, because the NVENC does work a little bit better, I noticed. I can save money down there, one could eat, getting money in the dick, I'm even gonna when I sleep. Wake up to getting bread, bitch, I do that for the streets. ADHD. Thank you, it's just Dev. I gave away 5 tier 1 subs as a gift. Thank you, buddy. Hey Chief, how are you doing today? Can you please share your Discord link here on chat? The Discord's just if you're on the TikTok side of the chat, go to my links in bio. You can also go to discord.chiefgeek3d.com. That will have a 302 redirect to put you to the Discord invite always. So, because I know those Discord invites can be kind of annoying, and I don't have enough boosts in the Discord server to get the discord.gg, you know, whatever, there, like, but yeah. Doing alright, Amine, how's it going? Let me catch up on chat here, because I went on a rant about Rust and everything. Wait, they still make Commodore stuff? I thought that was old. Oh yeah, they still make a lot of Commodore stuff. Like, the retro community is very vibrant with a lot of their stuff. Like, here, let me show you. A lot of us love our retro tech. I just need to get a USB adapter over here. If you're hearing the groans, I had an extreme arm and core day, and my triceps hurt. Like, I physically can't do the Elon salute. Like, my arm will at most go like that. I can't go all the way up. I am in pain. Calm down, Elon. But yeah, in terms of retro tech, this is a 1995, 96? 98. 1998 IBM Model M keyboard. It's so old, there's no start button here. No super key. But it does have the mouse built in, so there's the little, you know, rubber nipple, whatever the hell they call that. We used to call it a nipple. And it's got buckling springs. Here, let me turn off the mic filters so you can hear this. Like, this is like only hands level of finger feeling here. Noise gate, suppression, compressor. Yeah. Good old buckling springs. These were some of the first mechanical keyboards out there. And this thing still works. 1998. Taking over memory leak. Okay, we already talked about. Rust is great in my honest opinion, but the issue is, to me, is the license of their replacement. It's a BSD, not a GPL. Well, yeah, but BSD is alright for some things too. I mean, it's still pretty free, but not free. Not as free as GPL v2, and certainly not as free as GPL v3. Good evening. Quick, what automation platform you use? NA8N, Zapier, etc., or just cron bash? For a lot of my stuff, I'm still using cron bash, but what I'm probably going to be doing, because Zapier costs a lot of money for automation stuff, at least for the stuff I wanted to do, that I'm slowly leaning towards for 10 people to pay your way to TwitchCon. Oh, I looked at TwitchCon. Like, have you seen how much hotel rooms they want for that are? They wanted like 200 or something a night for a hotel room. Like, I'll pull this up. TwitchCon. Alright, so if you go to TwitchCon, what state do you currently reside in? The state of denial. So if you go to there, like, I was looking at this. Oh. Really? Hold on. I forgot I updated the flat pack, and the flat pack doesn't like to be updated in the middle of the thing. Alright. So, let's go to TwitchCon. I got a hype chest. Ooh. It's bad. Like, honestly, people are complaining about hotel room costs for DEF CON because Black Hat is also that week. So hotel rooms are, they're in the 200s. TwitchCon's just as bad, if not worse. The hell, TwitchCon's website is causing my browser to go derp. Currently runs Zorin OS as the virtual machine on my NAS. It's not too bad. When did old school gaming culture change from grassroots to fake corpo cringe? What do you mean by that? I'm not following what you mean. Do you know any platform that can take it, pop IMAP and replay it at some speed for testing purposes? I mean, pop IMAP for email is pretty well known for a lot of things, so I don't see why it would be an issue. Here, let's just go to booking.com. What's the dates for what you call it? TwitchCon. For some reason their website's being derpy. Okay, October 17th through 19th is the dates. So San Diego. And California is already expensive as it is. So let's say I were to fly in, so I want to be there probably the day before. So that'd be October 16th. And then get back 19th. So check out the 20th. One adult. Would you recommend a cybersecurity job, cybersecurity as a job with AI rising? Yeah, it's not an issue with that. Okay, I want you to see this. Let's book it by price. Okay, there's some inexpensive places. I take it back. Maybe their website was recommending, like, extremely exorbitant. Wait a minute. I want to see something. Is that per night? I mean, that hotel's not bad. Oh, okay. That's not too bad. But then you'd have to factor in Uber and food and everything. How are NVIDIA drivers on Linux? They're fine. I've been using, this is running an NVIDIA. My new laptop's running NVIDIA. Pop! OS has NVIDIA drivers built in. Cali is mad expensive. I support splitting it into 3 different states. Oh yeah, absolutely. California is ridiculously expensive. How much is a TwitchCon ticket, though? San Diego Convention Center. All right, so let me just check something out. If I were to search, we need to be popular filters. What are you looking for? Do they let you look by so yeah, if you book through the twitch.com website with their room blocks and everything, they charge out the ass. I'll use their little smart filter LLM. Okay, so here's what we can do. Oh, wait. That's dumb. Okay, so you have the I saw the filter for a second, and then it like disappeared when I Okay, so let's do it this way. I'm just trying to get an idea of, like, if I were to go, how much that would cost. So my flight probably be like still like $700-800 at least. How do you explain security vulnerabilities to a non-technical person? My boss uses business name, and his password. Oh my fuck! Oh God! No! No! We need the extreme close-up here. Don't do that. No. Just no. You want to, like, really scare your boss? Tell him his competitors can easily steal his trade secrets. That works. But what I was going to say is, have I been pwned? Run their email address through Have I Been Pwned. This is a legit website. It's well known in cybersecurity. And they'll see whatever leak that has been there. And then on top of it, run the password through the passwords over there. Okay, what the hell is with my browser today? Flatpak update. Do I have updates that are pending? Is that why? I don't know if you answered. Would you recommend getting a Samsung A55 moving from my iPhone X? So the A series, they're kind of basic. My uncle is running on them. Okay, for some reason it took forever, but it now loaded up, okay? Have I Been Pwned has the pwned password, section in here. So let's say I'm going to type in password 123. You can see how many times that password has actually been leaked. Just put his business passwords in there, and then see if they've been leaked. And then make it very clear a script kiddie could then get through his stuff. But is it hard to see in which leaks? No. So when you type their password, their email in on Have I Been Pwned, it will tell you where it's all been pwned. Yeah. That's why I use password managers. And I use password managers particularly that, so Bitwarden and Proton Pass, the password managers I split my stuff into, they both have the ability to check password leaks. What, Just Dev? You just ran my email through it? It's like, even if my password does happen to leak for things, is Proton Pass work with a free plan? Yes, they have a free plan. There are some limitations with the free plan. I don't remember what they are off the top of my head. One second. I am in the middle of doing an update here. I think I gotta reboot my desktop. Motion of what test.gov. No, I'm talking to Just Dev, one of my mods. Excuse me. KeyPass XC is great, but KeyPass XC... Well, actually, I think they did have a recent update that allows you to check Have I Been Pwned and everything. But it doesn't do... So the one thing I like about Proton Pass that I haven't seen many other password managers do is that Proton Pass allows you to also create aliases. So what I mean by that is you can actually have it create a different email alias for every single account. So that way it forwards into your email address, but then you technically have a different email for every account. Well, the question is also, like, when you say you're using 2FA, when we're talking about multi-factor authentication, what kind of multi-factor authentication? So the gold standard when it comes to multi-factor authentication is FIDO WebAuthn. Those are two standards, but basically it requires a device that signs a key. In the case here, this is my YubiKey 5 Nano. So that is the most secure way to do things. After that method, the most secure is application timed one-time passcode, which is basically your Google two-factor authentication. KeyPass XC does that, or many other things, but as the rolling numbers. That's the next best solution. After that, the worst solutions, but are still multi-factor authentication, are SMS MFA and email MFA. Those are not that secure inherently because of the systems that they rely on. So SMS can be intercepted and such as that, as well as the fact that email itself is not really a secure medium. Look, you can do so much with email to secure it, but unless you actually are PGP encrypting all of the emails that you're sending out, you're not really going to have much additional security there in email. And also, email is not a reliable medium for communication. A lot of people rely on email because it's the common thing to use, but it is still not something that you should ideally have to depend on. But just like fax, it's ubiquitous. Emails are like postcards. Kind of, sort of, yeah, I guess, kind of. It is electronic. It is mail. Physical key encryption. So physical key encryption, you can only do so much with it. Now, you can use a YubiKey to tie into the Linux Unified Key System, I think it's called Lux, which is what I use for my encrypted systems. But I still do a plain old password, because the problem is, I haven't looked into it too much, but I have too many YubiKeys, and I want to make sure different YubiKeys can still sign it. So at most what I'll do is I will use, I don't have my Librem, well, I have my Librem laptop here. Basically, this laptop over here uses a firmware on it, BIOS, called Coreboot. Now, Coreboot is an open source firmware that you can run on a laptop. Most of them are Intel powered. So this is running an Intel 10th gen CPU on it. I eventually will update it. This is about 3 years old. It's a pretty great laptop. It's been a DEF CON with me twice. This is running Cubes OS. which it's a really, really, really secure operating system. Well, as we like to call it, reasonably secure operating system. Because everything in here is containerized. We'll give you a little crash course on that in a second. But basically, at the hardware level, whether you're using like Pure OS or you maybe use Pop OS and then hook in the settings and everything like that, this can sign with the Librem key, which is another security key. It's using HOTP, not TOTP, hardware one-time passcode. That it can check at boot time if the firmware as well as boot files of the Linux operating system have been tampered with. Now, it should be noted with Core Boot, it only works with Linux. Okay? You can't run Windows on this because Core Boot and Windows apparently don't play nice. And whenever I update the actual operating system or firmware on this, I have to re-sign it with the PGP key on my Librem key, that's doing all that. Now, this is running Qubes OS on top of it. Now, Qubes OS is definitely a complicated operating system I do not recommend most people go to unless you are very comfortable with Linux. I consider it an intermediate Linux. Like, once you get your feet wet and you start, understanding it a little bit more. So everything in here is containerized. It's based on Zen Hypervisor. So your administration, system management is in a virtual machine. Your graphical user interface is in another virtual machine. Your applications get isolated into different virtual machines, and you can cut that up in however you want. It bases everything on templates. So these templates then have the updates and trickle down, so you can have different templates for different things. Oh, this has Unix built into it. Unix is built to be a virtual machine. It's not meant to be a base operating system on hardware. Now, how this works, though, with Unix is you have a virtual machine for your USB devices, so it isolates everything to a virtual machine for USB. And then the network has its own virtual machine, which ties into a firewall virtual machine. Then Unix calls upon the firewall virtual machine for its networking. It has a LAN inside of here. And then what you can do is you can make another virtual machine for a VPN. Chief, did the storm hit you at? Hopefully you're safe. Didn't know there was a storm, so no. I'm gonna check it out on my ham. Shit, my ham's not down here. I'll check out the situation with the storm on the ham and see what the local areas and all that are saying, the emergency groups and everything. But I can at least check the NOAA band to see what they're talking about and everything. I'm just like, I'm only a CNC machinist. Okay, now just to be clear here, you're talking about computer numerical control, because I got a lot of weird people in my chat sometimes. I just got to make sure that's what you mean by CNC. I think that's what you mean, right? No, he means the fun stuff. What else would CNC mean? Jatinder, all I'm going to say is don't look that up if you don't know what it means, because I'm not sure you would mentally be ready to understand what that means, at least outside of computer numerical control. Oh, you like building things from metal. Cool. Well, if you get to be more in the community and everything like that, and you do more CNC stuff, I might hit you up for some projects that I'm trying to get CNC'd, because right now, I did get a project sponsored by PCBWay. So what we did, I'll show this to you, because you're new. So, I don't know if you came in, this is the little mini laptop, the MNT Pocket Reform that I'm working on, and it has a, I guess that's a great way to put it, it's just a forceful hugs. Non-consensual hugs. Or consensual, non-consensual hugs. But anyway, What are we advertising today? We're not advertising, we're tinkering. I just did some testing with this little Fantech soldering iron, though. It's alright. Is it powerful enough? It's a great little mobile device. Now, I was an early backer of this device here. So, I'm also trying to get it working to the way that I need it. Now, the shortcoming that I found with this was, is it powerful enough for what I need it? Yeah. Because I'm just planning to use this as a little portable note-taking device and tinkering on the go. And this can allow me to install a cell modem, an NVMe SSD in here, and then I can do my little note-taking and tinkering with a little terminal and stuff. And it's got a very clicky mechanical keyboard over here with tail white switches. Good for RRL streaming. No, it's not good for that. I'd still probably run off a phone if I need to do that. So anyway, the issue that I ran into was the backplate for it is made out of, it's a PCB copper infused thing, and they have the copper running all across this backplate. So it's acting kind of like a Faraday cage, as well as it's also an insulator to the heat that it's trying to dissipate as well. So the CPU is reaching like 70, 80 degrees Celsius and kind of thermal throttling itself. So what we found out in the community we could do, and somebody had an open source project for this that, here, I can, I shared this in the Discord a few days ago. I had a PCBWay CNC a new aluminum backplate. That's solid aluminum, 6061 aluminum, and they laser engraved my logo in there. It was a chunk of change. They're sponsoring it, so I didn't have to pay for anything for it, but it was $140 to get that done. But totally worth it. So, we'll see once it's here. It'll be here tomorrow. Anyway, that has been reported by the community to drop the CPU temperatures to about 50 degrees, as well as fix a lot of the thermal and Faraday cage issues with the Wi-Fi card caused by the current setup. Now, to MNT's credit, because this is a fully open source project, they did stop production on these temporarily while they addressed the backplate issues that many of us were figuring out was of issue, and the new ones moving forward will have new backplates that the copper will only be running around here, so there'll be gaps around here so that we can actually remove the Faraday caging effect. Now, as far as the heat dissipation, I don't know if that's going to fix it as much, because you still have basically the way it's designed is, if I understand, there's copper, then a layer of PCB, and copper, then another layer of PCB, and copper, and then another layer of PCB. I think it's either 4 or 6 layers, but either way, there's a little bit in there, and actually it'd be 5 or 6. Yeah, anyway, so that is the issue I'm trying to resolve in here, and once I get that resolved with the base Wi-Fi, then I'll be able to move on to installing the 4G cell antenna inside of there, because it doesn't come with a 4G antenna. You have to go out and buy them. So I got a Quectel 4G antenna that I've been waiting to install for quite a minute over here. The other thing I also had to do is one of the battery packs was defective, so I replaced both of them. And then I have to install 5G antennas for the cell modem. I could just do one, but I was figuring I could do 2 and get better signal. And what I did when I took apart this laptop was I noticed there were some gaps along the side here in the bezel. So this bezel is holding in magnets at the top. So, but over here and here are gaps. So I figure if I can run the SMA cable in through the back where the PCB is over here, because the bottom is the battery, the top is the actual motherboard and everything, I can then have the cell modem over here, because the cell modem, I believe, if I recall, is like here or here. And so I think the cable should run far enough. And then the 4G modem is over there. And then on top of that, I got new thermal pads in. because some people were recommending 2.5 millimeter thick thermal pads rather than 2 millimeters. But I have some 2 millimeters, and then I have 2.5 over here. And if I end up going with the 2.5s, the stock ones and the ones I actually replaced it with just in case to see if the pads were bad are about 13 watts of cooling. What is it? 13 watts meter. That well, these are 20. So it should be able to extract heat a little bit better. With removable mesh on top of the slots for cooling, run it to the sides for screw. So it's not that. Here, let me see if I can show you. Do I have my other screwdriver kit here? I do. Because I forgot I brought my iFixit kit upstairs because I was fixing my rifle. By the way, iFixit kits are great for firearms too. My dog just here. Oh yeah. Hey boy. What's up, Barack? Hey that boy dog. Hey that boy dog. Hey that boy dog. What is the purpose they're putting Linux? Wait, what? Do you have a cell modem for it? Yeah, I do. The Quectel 4G. I just haven't gotten around to doing it because I wanted to make sure that I could at least get the base functionality working. Why is this not opening? God damn it, Fantic. Oh. It just was kind of locked in there. That's kind of weird, but okay. This Fantic case isn't so bad. They sent it to me for a review. It's just... I still prefer my iFixit. Oh, I was like, where's the laptop? Put the freaking case right on top of it. Okay. I don't know, I'm still old-fashioned, and I don't like using, motorized screwdrivers, but here we are. I was just wondering, can we... Alright. Here, I'll take this apart to show you what I'm talking about. What vehicle do I drive? One that's paid off. I don't need no fancy car. Although I have been looking at that Tello truck that's coming out. That looks interesting. I've been contemplating getting an EV. I just don't want a freaking Tesla. Caption clip 1 of 4. You only got 4? I would have thought you would have been able to get like a lot more clips out of that. Because there was a lot of information in that hour. I still can't believe that I made a bonehead move and I put it to get released at 2 a.m. instead of 2 p.m. I'm on military time. Okay. So, this is the back plate. So as you can see, there's 3 thermal pads there. I tried replacing these myself to address some heat issues. And as you can see, one of the ones is not getting as much contact as I would like. That one's touching over some of the power components that some people had suggested, but it's at least hitting the Wi-Fi chip and the CPU. So this device over here, let me get the other camera up so you can see it. Okay. I think you got a good enough picture here. So that's the CPU. It is upgradable, as you can see. You can swap this out. They actually have a Banana Pi adapter for the Banana Pi that also works with the Raspberry Pi Compute Module 4. You can also swap this out with an RK3588. They have a package for. The RK3588 doesn't have a Wi-Fi built in, and the Banana Pi is technically faster, but it has half the RAM, and you can't run an external display on it. So the iMX8M Plus is still like the best of both worlds for right now, but they are planning to have an RK3588 package with, they come in 128 gigs of eMMC with 16 gigs of memory and 256 gig eMMC with 64 gigs or 32 gigs of memory. I would like to get the 32 gig memory package, but anyway, I've tried doing the couple of fixes they had, like moving the display port for the Captain tape, because over here is the Wi-Fi antenna that is currently having issues. So it currently can only get signal out here from the little plastic panel, but it's blocked upways from that because of the Faraday cage effect. So over here is where I would have to install the cell modem, and then over here is the SIM card for when I actually do it. I do have a little, like, a basic, like, Mint Mobile SIM I was going to throw in there to try it out. And then over here is where you can put the NVMe SSD. Now, this does have, I think, what is it, 32 gigs of eMMC built in, and currently I have the operating system and everything on here. I've reset it, like, multiple times as part of my testing. So, where did I find this? On Crowd Supply! The Kickstarter equivalent of a lot of tinkering and open source projects. It's a great little site, and I backed this project a little over a year and a half ago. This project is completely open source. MNT, the company behind this, they're so open source, their only social media is on Mastodon. They have some YouTube videos from what I saw, but yeah, really great little community, and I think it's a really great little device. Fully right to repair friendly, fully open source. It's running a Raspberry Pi 2040 as the system controller. So it's as documented, open source, everything as possible and can be. And they encourage you to hack the device in any way, shape, or form that you need. So, as I said, I have a aluminum backplate that's going to be coming in, and that should hopefully resolve the issue. And I know a lot of people, any fan out pins? No, there's no fan. There's no fan. There's here, let me show you. It's all low power. So there's literally no slots for there to be a fan. Let me see if I can get that a little closer. There's no fan to be put on here. Your cooling is all supposed to be dissipated by the backplate, which is why we're going to the aluminum backplate that's made out of 6061 aluminum that one of the community members managed to make using the open source schematics that they had, and then shared it through GitHub, and many of us have actually been using that same backplate and then adding our own designs and everything. What about trying Peltier coolers on the backplate? Peltier is very, very inefficient. You'd probably end up using more power to try to cool it and still end up wasting a lot more heat. Peltier is just one of those things, like, it's very inefficient, it's not that great, and if you want a great video to explain why Peltier is, like, kind of, like, a little bit overhyped for things, one of my favorite YouTubers, you'd probably love this person, Honey Badger, if you're not familiar with them already, is called Technology Connections. They explain a lot of different technology. Here we go. This guy has been making videos for years. I have been following him for years. I stumbled across him when I had, like, when he only had, I think, like 50,000, 100,000 people in there. Anyway, he has a video on Peltier coolers. And I still refer back to this a lot, every now and then. Oh, it's 6 months ago. Okay. Thermoelectric cooling, it's not great. That's what the video is called. So, definitely would recommend it. What virus software do you recommend? The thing I'm going to recommend is don't click on stupid things. Windows Defender in terms of Windows out of the box is more than enough for most average everyday people. Now, let me make this very clear. I understand there's cases you're going to want a little bit more than that. Windows Defender can have its limitations. Now, to be specific, we're talking about Windows Defender, the consumer version that's installed in Windows. We're not talking about Windows Defender EDR, the endpoint detection and response that's actually for businesses and everything. Now, in terms of businesses, definitely get antivirus. But at that point, there's a different suite that I would talk about. I'm planning to make some YouTube content talking around the system, this question as well, because I've talked about it on TikTok quite a bit, and I'm trying to translate a lot of things over. But basically, if you're needing a little bit more than Windows Defender, which is a very, very rare case for a lot of people, Bitdefender is one of the ones I recommend the most. They have a consumer version that's really great. Now, in terms of business use for small businesses, I would recommend Bitdefender Gravity Zone, which is an EDR, endpoint detection and response. In a business, you generally want EDR over a basic antivirus. Antivirus only allows point-in-time scanning, really. I mean, yes, there's some nuance around that with antivirus that can, run in time and everything like that, but what an EDR does is an endpoint detection and response. It actually looks at what the system's doing and accessing, rather than looking at viruses and malware based on definitions. Because viruses and stuff are evolving way faster than we can actually keep up with a lot of these things. So we're looking at EDRs these days. CrowdStrike is one of my preferred EDRs, but they're kind of expensive. But Bitdefender has a really great EDR as well. Now, when it comes to an EDR, you generally want to find one that's mapping to the MITRE ATT&CK framework, or at least Microsoft Stride, depending on the models you want to attach. I'm just so confused on why my computer gets all panicky and goes full-on Amber Heard. That's why I want to see what is happening. Tired of installing Windows once a week. Well, Windows is kind of a pain. It really is. But Windows Defender should be fine. Not clicking on stupid things. Because the reality is, no matter what antivirus you get, it comes down to don't do stupid things. The human is the biggest weakness of any system that I can set up. As I tell everyone, look, I can build you a castle. I can put archers in the turrets. I can put a drawbridge in. We can have a moat. We can fill it with piranhas, alligators, you name it. But if you lower that drawbridge, ain't nothing I do going to help you. So a lot of the things that come down to is watching for phishing, don't click different things, use different kinds of script blockers, because there's also malvertising, things like that. I mean, there's a lot of things that go into it. Now, you have to remember, in terms of cybersecurity, you have to be right every single time. They only have to be right once. I use it for schoolwork, Mastercam, and using Steam and playing other games. I play all of my games actually through Linux using Steam. I'll be playing Path of Exile 2 in a little bit here on Linux. What am I building? Not building, showing. I have a little laptop that we will be doing some upgrades on tomorrow. This is my little MNT Pocket Reform little laptop. I've been, it's a fully open source, fully right to repair laptop that I've just been really enjoying and tinkering with, and the only issue I'm having is there's a... Hey, thank you for the 1,000 biddies, appreciate you. So, yeah, it's just a little laptop that I'm trying to get together because I want to have a laptop that I don't need full-on horsepower. I just need a little something that, like, when I'm, like, say, at DEF CON or I'm flying on a plane, I can just, easily do my notes. And this is great. It's got a mechanical keyboard, a Raspberry Pi 2040 system controller. It's got a quad-core iMX8M Plus CPU with 8 gigabytes of memory. and 32 gigabytes of eMMC in there. But it also lets you upgrade all the components because it's fully ready to repair anything. You can view your music. Yeah, it's a great little laptop I stumbled across. I think I was just on Mastodon one day and I came across it in my federated feed and I was like, that thing is dope. I want it. Because at the time, I think it was right after I had finished up with DEF CON 31. And I was really like running into the issue of I was thinking of building a cyber deck. For those of you not familiar with what the cyber deck is, think of it as a little laptop that you can put together out of different components. So like you could have like say a Raspberry Pi in a Pelican suitcase, put a monitor, a keyboard, and you just hack the computer together. Well, the MNT Pocket Reform is a very nicely done cyber deck if you think about it. It's just something that's purpose built to what I need. Have a little ROG Ally for some tinkering while I'm at a hotel. Gotta love VPN and remote desk. Yeah, that's basically what I need with it. It's just a little device that I can do just enough things. Like when I'm at DEF CON, I just need a laptop to turn on, let me take notes, and if possible, connect to a cell network. I can attach a cell modem into that. So that way I wouldn't even have to connect to DEF CON Wi-Fi. It'd be great once I get it fully set up to the ways I want. Even using Windows 11 Pro. I'm using Windows 11 Enterprise, and I still have Bitdefender on my Windows desktop over here. Although I use Bitdefender. I'm using it not necessarily because, I'm like saying go out and get Bitdefender, it's better than Windows Defender. I kept running into weird issues with Windows Defender that it was blocking my streaming for some reason. And I could not figure out the firewall to list all the things I needed for some reason for OBS to do all the connections it needed. I don't know why. It was working fine, and then one day, some definition update came from Windows Update, and then just was like, no, screw you. You shall not pass. And I just said, you know what, screw it. I'll just install Bitdefender, because I actually know how they work, and I just listed what I needed, and then I haven't had issues streaming since. I would actually have occasionally dropped packets I noticed on my streams that were tied to Windows Defender. It's a niche issue. It's a very niche issue. I probably could have expensed a little bit more time to figure out what the issue was, but ultimately, I was like, you know what? It ain't worth the time. And Bitdefender is going to give me just a little bit more protection on things for what I do. But yeah. A few streams ago, you were talking about an interest in public office. If you made it to Congress, what subcommittees would you want to be on? Cybersecurity aside. Privacy. Anything privacy technology related, like technology trades, national security, because that's cybersecurity adjacent, like all that kind of stuff. If one day I happen to lose a few brain cells and decide that I want to go into politics, or if I decide that, I'm getting to be as old as the Crypt Keeper, I need a job, politics sounds like it for me. The problem is, you need money to get into politics. You kind of do. In many districts. Could I do it? Possibly. But I also like my cybersecurity career. I might revisit it when I'm in my 40s. Maybe. We'll see. Who knows? Maybe I could be popular enough on social media that I could just say, hey, chat, I'm gonna run for politics! And then watch chat hate me. I don't know. I'd probably be the only guy, like you'd probably, like, see me on C-SPAN going in, like, F you, F you, F you, you're cool, Senator, F you, I'm out. How you doing? Just had a quick question. What did you think of ITM LTO tapes? ITM LTO tapes. Oh, for offsite redundant storage. You talking about just the magnetic tapes and all that? They're worthwhile because in terms of like the let me make sure I'm talking about the we're talking about the same type technology. Hold on. It's been a minute. Hold up. I just want to make sure. Okay, yeah. You talking about these? Hold on. Talking about like these. I haven't touched these in a minute. So tape storage offsite isn't a bad idea. It's more about the actual climate of where you're actually storing it. Now, there are systems you can use. So like a lot of people don't know this, but let me see if I can find the tape machines that like IBM has. There's machines. No, not these. Data, archive, tape. I'm trying to remember what the term is for it. There's like tape libraries. Let's see if I can find it. Oh yeah, here we are. So like, I don't know if a lot of people know this. Like universities in a lot of places actually have like systems out here. So like they have entire archival systems that actually have these tapes and everything. And a lot of people don't know this. Like, see, this is a good video. Like that's how it works. It like literally is just pulling in tapes and all that. So when you're talking about, I think it's Snowflake storage in AWS, it's literally backing it up on tape. Tape is one of the most least expensive, most inexpensive mediums to actually store data on. It's of course very slow because it writes data synchronously, not asynchronously. So it works really, really well for these kind of purposes. However, I would use it in a form of additional backup systems. So when you're talking about your architecting your backup and everything, you ideally want to have at least what we call 3-2-1. So you're gonna have 3 different backups on 2 different mediums and one of them off-site. So but with tape, you also need to have the consideration, just like anything, the climate that everything is stored in. The moisture and all of that. So, it's definitely a worthwhile solution to explore, especially if you're talking about very, very dense solutions. Sorry, I had to reset the chat here because for some reason it got stuck. I'm not really concerned about how fast they can read or write, just about how durable and long term. They can be pretty durable. Tape storage life. They last about 15 to 30 years with LTO tapes, if that's what you're worried about. Hold up, chat. Oh, come on. Wasn't opening the chat. There we are. Okay, now it should be able to bring in the chat. Nope. Hold up. Chromium is being a dick now. I use base Chromium just for the chat window, so it's on a whole other browser. Yeah, I'm on an old version of Social Stream Chat. That's why. Here's what we're gonna do for a quick sec. We're gonna do some system updates, then reboot this desktop over here. The power of having a 2-desktop setup. I think I need to reboot the system anyway. Yeah, it had some kernel updates and stuff anyway, so we'll just do that. But I got chat over it here at least for things manually. Just really interested in storing confidential documents without the internet being into play. Yeah, so, I mean, it's a worthwhile thing to explore. It's not fast, but it is definitely still a, well-respected solution to archive a lot of different things out there. Just, of course, talk about the, um, the make sure that it's not your only backup. I would use it as a cold storage backup. In terms of your 3-2-1 architecture. Of course, 3 different backups, 2 different mediums, 1 offsite is just like kind of the minimum baseline we recommend. You can always have more backups out there. I mean, I know people that back up important password files and PGP and all that on 3.5-inch floppy. Look, if it works for you, it works for you. I just don't know if I'd do that because I also used to have this funny joke over at work when I was back in the MSP, where I used to have a floppy that had the masking tape on it, super confidential, important documents, and I would stick it to the fridge in work with a magnet, and that was always a running joke for the IT guys because we know how bad that whole system is. Because floppies are, well, there were several issues I remember early on in my start of my tech days that people, I got calls. I remember one in particular. There's this one dude, complaining up a storm. Every time I write to my floppy, my data's not there when I go grab it again. And we're like, oh yeah, we got all these different things. And one day we just had the bright idea, why don't we see what he's actually doing? And I remember I came into his house and I'm like, you mind showing me, what the floppy you use? And he literally pulled the magnet off of this floppy, on the fridge and then handed it to me. And I looked at him and I said, I already know what your problem is. He's like, what? And I'm like, magnets are how this operates. That magnet's wiping the data off your floppy every time you put it up. Just to give you an idea, that PEBCAC has always been a problem with people. It's always been a problem as long as computers have been around. While the computers have gotten easier to use, the average person just isn't that smart when it comes to troubleshooting a lot of different things out there. I'm not trying to say that as like, oh, I'm an arrogant elitist or anything. That's just the truth of the matter. The problem is you've got smartphones and dumb people. You've got... Is there any way to change what's on a USB without plugging it in? Not really. I mean, there is by like taking off the chip and modifying it, but that would still in essence be plugging it in, just not through the USB connection, but it is. Where's the best place to learn ethical hacking for someone with no experience? There's lots of CTF platforms out there like Hack the Box, Try Hack Me, Parrot CTFs. There's lots of platforms out there, but ultimately, they will at most give you the basic understanding. No matter what, if you're doing red teaming or blue teaming, you're going to want to build your own home lab. Home labbing is the way that I learned a lot of my own things. And if you ever happen to be in my Discord server, in the general chat room, there is a pinned file that one of the community members shared with us, 14.5 megabyte PDF file, that has so many different great things that HBX shared, talking about virtual machines and virtual labs and all that. What's red team and blue team? So in the context of cybersecurity, red teaming is offensive, blue teaming is defensive, and then the combination thereof is called purple teaming. So I'm actually more on the blue team side of things. Red team in terms of offensive. But next year, I'm hoping to start going down the path of shifting into purple, which has been my long-term goal. So this year, my goal is I'm trying to get my general ham license, possibly my amateur extra ham license, my CCSP, Certified Cloud Security Practitioner. I already have my CISSP. I don't have any other certs. And I also want to get my GMRS license as well. That's just a matter of paperwork to do that for radio. And then next year, I've already brought up to work, I want to go for OSCP. And work is looking at possibly budgeting that in to 2026 for my education. Because pretty much once I have CISSP, CCSP, and OSCP, there's not much else in the way of certs that I really want to go down the path of. You should look into RTL SDR ham radios. Hey, buddy. Buddy. You know what that is? That is my RTL radio. My RTL SDR. I am planning to get more into them. So I currently I'm trying to get more into ADS-B, UAT, and satellite telemetry as well. There was a satellite dish that I found over on Crowd Supply. I'll share it with y'all if you haven't seen it. This is currently one of the ADS-B things I use. This was the Aerospace Village badge from DEF CON. So this actually has an ADS-B receiver built in. So I can attach an external antenna and start tracking planes. It was actually really fun to do with, but this is kind of a delicate device, so I want to do something a little bit better to track planes and everything. My first intro to ham radios, I am looking into purchasing a Morse code operator. Oh, you're talking about electronic keyer? Yeah, I'm working on that as well. I'm actually working on a CW decoder as well. Now, you do not need to know Morse code to get any license in ham. Not technician, not general, nor amateur extra. But it is something I want to learn myself. There is a soldering project I came across that allows you to do CW decoding. So it can actually decode incoming Morse code, and then I can send out Morse code myself. I do want to learn that because it's really nice, especially as I start getting into my general license and eventually amateur extra, that I could actually do that across many different bands, because you only need 150 hertz for CW Morse code to work. Whereas if you're doing voice is about 3 kilohertz, I think, of a band, if I'm not mistaken. I just enjoy the fact that ham radios are, to an extent, end-of-the-world proof. For the most part, yeah. Provided you got power. Now, I did start with a Baofeng UV5RH, which is a nice basic radio. I'll go into the reasons why I'm moving on from it, and I actually may have other radios I'm recommending newbies use. So you have TID radio is what I'm actually looking at upgrading to. They're inexpensive radios themselves, but they're a little bit better respected and modifiable and stuff like that. But yeah. I'm definitely going to be doing a lot more. So I've actually been cleaning out the sound booth over here. So for those of you that weren't aware, there's a little recording booth over here. I used to, during COVID, hang out with my boys and we record in there. Well, it's been kind of isolated for a while, but it's got a desk in there and some audio equipment. I could easily wire up some antennas and stuff to do ham radio and everything on multiple bands. So I'll probably be the crazy guy with a bunch of Yagi antennas and satellite dishes on their house doing a bunch of random shit. Who knows? I'm building a cyber deck, and I'm going to incorporate RTL, SDR, and a code key. Let me show you a project there from CrowdSpy. Do you think anti-cheat systems will support Linux? They already do. It's a developer's fault that they don't work. Like I was playing Halo the other day. Halo has a anti-cheat system. Easy anti-cheat works on Linux. It's up to the developers to check the box and make it work on Linux. It's completely the fault of developers choosing not to support Linux that are why games don't work. Anti-cheat systems work. Well, Fortnite uses a kernel-level anti-cheat system. And kernel-level anti-cheat systems, I would never even install a game on Windows that has kernel-level anti-cheat. No software outside of security software should have kernel-level access. And Fortnite can kiss my butt for all I care. And if the game doesn't work on Linux because of kernel-level anti-cheat, then I don't want to play it. Period. I wouldn't even want to play it on Windows. League of Legends too. Well, I wouldn't play League of Legends for more reasons than just that they don't support kernel-level anti-cheat. Have you met people who play League of Legends? We got several of them at work. You can kind of suss out the people that are League of Legends players. They're just dumb. Yeah. Why they shouldn't have access to it. Principle of least privilege. It's a video game. Why should a video game have access to the kernel level, the lowest level of your operating system? Yeah, kernel level software that isn't legit is a crazy risk for OPSEC. Like, there's already been the issue with, and I've talked about this in my YouTube video. There's a YouTube video that goes into this. I have a 15-minute video or so talking about kernel level anti-cheat is dumb and a problem waiting to happen or something like that. And Genshin Impact had their kernel level anti-cheat co-opted, actually, as part of an attack chain. So Genshin Impact had a kernel level anti-cheat that was there was a proof of concept code several years before this actually was used, showing how the anti-cheat could be used as part of an attack to disable antivirus and stuff. The company behind Genshin Impact chose to do nothing about it. Well, an attacker took the anti-cheat from Genshin Impact and then used it as part of an attack chain to be able to get into a system and turn off the antivirus. Let me make this very clear. You didn't need Genshin Impact installed for this attack to work. It just took the component of the kernel level anti-cheat that happened to be part of Genshin Impact as part of the attack chain. That's just one example of kernel level anti-cheat is bad. Can we completely hide personal info from private investigators? Not necessarily in the United States, because it's really hard to do that because we don't have privacy laws. And I've talked about this on many, many different occasions. We don't have... So in Europe, they have GDPR. In Canada, they have PIPEDA. In South Africa, they have POPIA. In China, they have PIPL. In the United States of America, we have jack in terms of privacy laws to protect and limit data collection. Most of this data that private investigators use is collected by data brokers. Now, you can use services like Delete Me, which I'm not hating on them at all. They're great. I do recommend them. But they can only do so much because they have to go out and find every single data broker out there and remove your data before there's actually an issue. So in the case of like National Public Data, that whole leak that had millions of people's information on there, social security numbers, names, addresses, all of that stuff, you have to proactively remove that data, and that data shouldn't be collected. And you might be wondering, how is that data collected in the first place? Well, have you ever checked your documentation when you go to apply for a loan? When you go to apply for an apartment, a job, a credit card? Sometimes that information, it's sold often. Look at 23andMe. They're having their data possibly sold as an asset in the bankruptcy. So your genetic data is potentially going to be sold because you gave it to another company. And I know some of you out there are like, wait a minute, that's health data. Doesn't HIPAA and high-tech protect that? No. Because HIPAA and high-tech only are about covered entities, particularly hospitals, doctors, and insurance providers. But if you're using, say, a Fitbit with health data, a menstrual tracking app, or you have, genetic testing, you have a meditation app that you're giving it, responses about how you're feeling and all of this stuff. Those are not covered entities. They're not covered by HIPAA. They're not covered by high-tech, which is the enforcement of HIPAA. Testing out Delete Me right now. It's good so far, but not perfect. They said it can take time. Yes, it does take time. I know that from experience. I've personally been using them for about a decade. A little over a decade. I was using them when they were originally called Abine Delete Me, before they just became Delete Me. So they're one of the oldest, but one of the best. I've tried a lot of different companies out there, OneRep, Incogni, all of them. Delete Me still has my vote. I am not affiliated with them. Well, I did get affiliation with them because I like their software. But I was using them before I was affiliated, okay? Let's make that clear. If you do want them, link in bio. Oh, the kernel video? Thank you. Honestly, downloading, I heard that there are kernel level hacks, so it might be for a reason. Well, here's the reality, as I would tell you when it comes to kernel level anti-cheat. It's a video game. It ain't that serious. I know some of you are out there like, well, I don't want cheaters in my game. Find a better game that actually knows about server-side anti-cheat. You can do a lot with AI on server-side anti-cheat, but guess what that requires? Developers to invest and do things a little bit better. Kernel-level anti-cheat is just cheating on, making them cheat as a cheap alternative for them to do it. And it causes quite a bit of false positives in different things. And now it's getting even worse because now you're talking about, they've already found ways to defeat it, where people are hooking in cards in their PC and then having a second device doing a DMA, direct memory access anti-cheat. So it's directly reading into the memory from another computer. And you can't really defeat that because it's disguising itself as another piece of hardware. Like it could show up as a Wi-Fi card or a USB drive or, anything, a DVD drive for all you care. And the issue with it is like now they're like, well, how do we defeat this? Now they're talking about IOMMU requirements, not just kernel level. Now you're talking about lower level privileges than the operating system. IOMMU is a component we use in virtual machines. I love IOMMU. Do not get me wrong. It's great for virtual machines. What it allows you to have is direct access into the hardware. So when I'm running a virtual machine on my Linux box using KVM, QEMU, or in my Cubes OS, I'm using Zen, VMware, ESXi. You've also got on Windows, if you're using Hyper-V, they allow you to directly interface with the hardware. So the way this works is, I always get this confused. Is it type 1 hypervisors that are directly interfacing to the hardware, or is it type 2? Because one of them requires you to, you have a layer of the operating system before it can actually interact with the hardware. So like, think your VirtualBox. VirtualBox works on top of the operating system, and then the operating system talks to the hardware. It's type 1? Okay. So that's a type 2. VirtualBox would be a type 2 if I'm not mistaken. Type 1 directly interfaces in. Oh, VirtualBox is level 2. Hold on, let me make sure. Type 1 hypervisor. Type 1 has direct access. Okay, yeah. So a type 1 has direct access to the hardware. And if you've had a computer within the past decade or so, you may notice there's a technology in Intel called VTD and VTX. You enable that, you can run a type 1 hypervisor on your machine. Type 2 is what we used to do when you didn't have those extensions. I forget what the AMD equivalent is, but basically if you have a computer within the past 10 years or so, you flip the switch in your BIOS, suddenly you got access, and then, yeah, we might complain about the IOMMU grouping on some of these devices being kind of weird and all that stuff, but essentially, you have direct access to the hardware from your virtual machine, so it's very performant, and in some cases, virtual machines as a Type 1 can be faster than the base operating system. We're talking like 3-4% at most. It's not like you're going to run home and, make it a Ferrari. Modern Type 1 hypervisors require a CPU to have a TPM module. Not always. That's a Windows thing, if I recall. Because in Linux land, and many times BSDs, we have this ongoing debate about the requirement of a TPM. Because the problem with the TPM is a lot of them depend on proprietary technology. In terms of the BIOS, the motherboard manufacturers and stuff like that. So, like, we'll have Lux in Linux that doesn't require a TPM. In Linux, we don't have a TPM requirement. Windows, Microsoft specifically, was pushing for the TPM thing for years. They're the whole reason we had the whole EFI thing. If it were up to me, I'd still be on plain old BIOS. In fact, Google, if I recall, was deploying their own custom servers for many years because they complained about the issues potentially with security around EFI. I don't even like the fact that Intel Management Engine, if you think about it, is basically just a tiny Minix little web server inside of there. If you think about it, Intel Management Engine is basically another CPU inside your CPU running a web server so that you can do out-of-band management. In corporate enterprise settings, that's great because you can turn on the machine, have it do the updates, even if the machine's off, and you can control it a little bit more. For enterprise setting, it makes sense. For the average everyday person, I really think that we should have Intel ME as disabled by default. But, unfortunately, it's not even an option to disable in a lot of machines. You have to go out of your way to get things like the Purism laptop I have that has Core Boot that has Intel Management Engine disabled, or System 76 where they go out of their way to disable it. Because the problem is Intel Management Engine is baked into the Intel CPUs, and AMD has their own equivalent too. Don't get me wrong. I forget what theirs is called. But AMD, Intel requires the management engine to even boot the CPU. So the way it's nullified, they found out the NSA had this disable bit for ME, because they have the same concerns around an Intel Management Engine as well, by the way. Is there's a way to flip a bit inside the CPU that will have ME turn on, boot the computer up, and then turn it off after it gets to a certain stage of booting. I love how simply BIOS menus were able to work. I used to manage a huge amount of AMD FX desktops. I never had a problem with original tried and true BIOS. I've never had issues with BIOS either. I thought it was great. It was reliable as hell. I miss my basic input-output system. This whole EFI thing is just weird to me. I don't need a damn mouse. I don't need pretty graphics when I am in my BIOS. I need that crap to just be basic. What do you think of the new VMware Broadcom 72 requirements to set 72 cores? 72 cores! This is making me feel like Doc Brown. 1.21 gigawatts! 1.21 gigawatts! 72 cores, my God! I only have 16 cores, 32 threads on my workstation over here. And even I'm like, I would like more cores. But I'm still like, that'd be overkill. I got a 5950X, if anyone's wondering. 72 cores, goddamn. You would need to get a Threadripper, at least. Just stick with the tried and true Z80. Zilog 80. Zilog Z80. I haven't touched one of those since I was a kid. VMware 70 core, 2-core minimum. Beginning April 10th, the fewest licenses a VMware customer can buy will be 72 cores per CPU. They're drinking more alcohol than I am! I'm on the Ryzen 9 5900X. It got spicy at 60 to 75 degrees with an AIO. I have a Noctua NHD 15. I've never seen that CPU go above 65. It's nice and cool and toasty. You know, come to think of it, I probably should repaste that CPU at some point. Still fine, though. I got plenty of thermal grizzly cryonaut in there. I did push-pull on 240mm radiator. Yeah. Well, like what? You need a data center to use VMware? Broadcom is ruining VMware. VMware ESXi used to be a software I recommended to a lot of home labbers. And this is where Broadcom really doesn't understand their industry. Why do a lot of the softwares that get used in corporate companies and corporate entities get used? You want to know why? Because a lot of the tech people grew up, are using the stuff, and are playing with it in their own home labs. That's why every piece of software you see out there has a home lab version. Think about it. Docker. Yes, technically in a corporate environment, you do need to pay for Docker desktop licensing, but you can, as a person, use Docker just fine. And then once if you want, you can use Rancher for the licensing reasons. Terraform, same things. Now, of course, same issue. Terraform has had a licensing requirement and change. You can switch over to OpenTofu. You had pfSense. A lot of people in pfSense throw it on their boxes, and then they go to work and buy official Netgate hardware. Even WatchGuard, which was a firewall vendor I dealt with, would give us NFR licenses, not for retail, and then we could just use it in our home, and then we'd go into work using it as part of being WatchGuard certified. I've actually made this mention to Zscaler as well. You need to have a home labbing product, because they're having the issue that a lot of enterprises out there don't know how to deploy Zscaler. And I'm like, well, you have a 50-seat minimum, so you're not going to get a lot of exposure out there. I love Zscaler, but I also understand how complicated it is. And that's why TwinGate is getting more penetration into the market and eating a lot of their lunch in terms of the Zero Trust network access solution. Even though TwinGate is a solid product, do not get me wrong, Zscaler is a much better product. And Zscaler has cool things like deception. Deception in Zscaler is a honeypot honeynet system, where you can easily deploy internal and external decoys and then send that over to your operations. And you can even have it like monitor like passwords, for example, and then like have it feed into Okta. And then if you actually do get a hit, it can then cause force a reset for the user on the Okta side to change their password. When you think of e-signatures for compliance within organizations, they're a thing. There's pros and cons to them, because the reality is you have a lot of corporations that are just all over the place. So the issue is, you have a lot of corporations that have offices all over the country, all over the world, and everything like that. You have some version history. I love it. Yeah, I've been around the block long enough. I've been in IT/cybersecurity for 10 years now. Look, I have the proven qualifications that I've got my full CISSP after passing the test. Are you an advisor by any chance? No, I'm a cybersecurity engineer. I got out of the MSP, managed service provider life, because that was very stressful. Honestly, corporate is stressful, but in a very different way. It's kind of funny because I have newbies coming in, and I'm mentoring them a bit, and they're like, how are you not that stressed with everything going on? And I'm like, you only grew up in corporate. You never had to do managed service provider life where you're juggling 12 different clients, 12 different environments, and dealing with 12 different stakeholders with different needs and having to architect that. And you're the IT guy from everything from my desktop my printer is not working, all the way up to I need to get a new server infrastructure, deploy a network, run the wires and everything like that, and then coordinate with contractors and everything. I definitely do say MSP is worthwhile for a lot of people who want to get thrown into the deep end of the pool of IT and cybersecurity. You will learn an awful lot, but you will be pulled in so many different directions because you have so many hats to wear. And the pay ain't as nice, to be honest. But yeah. Have you personally dealt with any LTO tubs for cold storage, cold site storage? Really looking into it. I have a little bit, but mostly on a small scale. There was a few companies that I dealt with that we did that for off-site. We had they originally had tape machines where we physically would back those tapes up and then transport them physically. to an offsite location that was secured. The joke was back then, don't ever underestimate the bandwidth of a station wagon carrying 40 different tape drives going 60 miles an hour. What's up, Andrew? How's it going? Whatever happened to high RPM HDDs? Missed those, especially the 10,000 RPM WD black drives. So those on the SATA side of things have disappeared. You want fast hard drives. So what happened was, they still exist, but they're on the SAS and SCSI side of things. So, serial attached SCSI. SCSI. SCSI was the more robust form of data connection that allowed for, I don't know what the term is, but it's bidirectional. It would basically be a simplex connection that could write and read at the same time. Whereas SATA, from what I remember, still can only do write or read at any given time in the clock cycle. Graduate in December and want to be an analyst. How much programming am I going to do? Depends on what, the business requirements are. Most of it's administrating systems. You might need to be doing a little bit of Python and stuff like that, but it depends on the role and the requirements of the job and the infrastructure they have. That's the honest truth. Overall, you shouldn't be doing much, but I can't answer that definitively. Tape drives. Tape drives are still used. Tape drives are still being bought new, and they're still a reliable form to have a lot of data stored. And especially if you're dealing with data centers like AWS Snowflake, their coldest storage. Like, I think when you hit a request for them, you have to wait 8 hours for that data to come your way, is using tape on their end. And it's really great because by virtue of tape technically being offline when you do the backup, if you have a ransomware event that happens to hit all your hot or warm drives, you have a good cold backup that's secured. So there is an advantage to it. There's a reason why it still exists. Where was I going with this? Oh, yeah. SCSI. I remember I had to set up a RAID array with a PCI controller that used SCSI attachment 1,000 million years ago. Yeah, SCSI hasn't been around as much. It's now SAS. SAS and PCI Express. So, here we go. We'll get you an HP article right here. This should explain things. So, what is serial attached SCSI? High performance and reliability, supports multiple devices per port, so it has a breakout cable that actually allows you, I think, was 4 drives per channel. They do have a higher cost, but they have full duplex. That was the word I was thinking of, not simplex. I'm in hamland, sorry. Full duplex communication, and they also have ECC, advanced error correction and checking. Now, SATA does use lower power. It's got a simpler design compared to SAS. And, of course, they had to top in this native command queuing that allows you to basically use, like, an elevator approach where it's like, floor 1, this bit. Floor 2, that bit. So it knows how to, like, yeah. But anyway. SAS is going to be much faster because you can do, like, 12 gigabit per second for SAS 3, whereas SATA right now is still 6 gigabit per second. And I don't really see there's going to be a SATA 4 because we're relying more on PCI Express. SAS is where you're going to find a lot of these drives now that are going to be with the 10 or 15K drives. So you're talking about 10,000 drives. SAS, you can get 15K. So, here we go. Let's pull up, just for an example, a Seagate Cheetah. Most people don't know about this product line from Seagate. Or the Savio now. They used to be called Cheetahs, if I remember. This is an enterprise hard drive that spins at 15,000 RPM. Okay? These are blazing fast in terms of spinning rust. So, you got 15K, 900 gig hard drives, but these ain't cheap. These are not cheap. But in terms of megabytes per second, megabytes, not megabits, megabytes, 300 to 210 per disk. So you throw that bad boy in a RAID 5 at least, you could get 600 to 210 megabits. Well, it depends on that setup, but there's different ways to do that, and you could throw a caching disk and drive and all that. But yeah, there's still fast disks out there, and spinning rust is still used in a lot of different businesses. School has me doing a logic class, intro program, and pseudocode, and don't know if it was needed. Well, here's the honest truth. I've already seen this from one of the new guys that came to work, and he's very green out of school. I had to basically tell him, like, you're going to learn very fast. You're going to come out of school, and you're going to not know crap. He's several weeks into the job. It's about a month and a half. Whatever, however long. He's definitely feeling like he didn't learn enough in school. Because school only teaches you the basic theory and concepts. It doesn't actually teach you the real-world application of things. So you're going to actually come into it with eyes wide open and understand you may have that piece of paper, but in terms of your overall career, you're still just starting. You're still just a baby in this field. I love your custom mic skin. Yeah, that was a fun little nice touch. I just decided to customize it a little bit. Got my logo on the back plate. And then, of course, got my name on there. Oh, God damn it. I really need to fix this stupid adapter. I need to get a different adapter because I'm particular on my stuff. Here we go. For some reason, the nut is like tightening up there, but yeah. It's annoying. I wish they made better arms that went directly into the Shure connection so you didn't need that adapter. We use a Shure blob with the mutability to achieve the same air-gapped feature of tape. What say you? It's okay, but, you know, you're still going to need to do additional things. Like that one song from Creed. Wait, what? For the longest time, Newegg had this deal. $50 for a 2 terabyte Barracuda. It was arguably the best option if you wanted to run a NAS. Well, it depends on which Barracuda. Wait, no. You want drives that are designed for a NAS to run in a NAS. College, go thousands into debt to not learn how to pay it back. Unfortunately, that's the truth. I didn't really go to college for my stuff. I spent more time in college learning about electrical. But yeah, you said in this field with arms wide open. Do I look like Creed? May as well just insulted me and called me Nickelback.
Emotional, damn it!
All right, we're going to take a quick break for a second. Nature is calling right now. So, gonna put the ad screen on for a sec so we don't have another ad roll for a little bit. You're just going to see a BRB screen. You ain't going to be missing anything. So, be right back. Give me 2 minutes. Okay. Hey, 3D printing, how you doing? Haven't commented in a while, so here you go. While I was in the bathroom, guess what I found? The diagonal cutters that I was looking for. I forgot I was working on the electrical panel. Welcome to ADHD life, where you go in and you're like, oh yeah, that's the tool I needed. So, I'll get back to soldering that project later. But anyway, just a heads up. Looks like there's a storm brewing right now where I'm at. And, there is some thunder and all that. So there is a possibility, though unlikely, the stream may die, depending on how things go. I do have a backup internet with 5G and everything, but I think it takes 10 seconds to fail over. And I don't think I have enough uplink. I might have enough uplink. Should. To handle the simulcast side of things. So we'll see how this goes. But I have UPSs on all of my stuff. We got the 1500 watt on the big boy. We got the 800 watt on the little guy. We got the 1500 watt on the network. So we can at least withstand the little bumps. And we also got shielded network cabling, all bonded on an isolated ground in the network panel. I got to talk about the home lab at some point properly on YouTube. I will. I mean, at this point, it's looking more and more like Best Buy. I sent the application and then got this automatically sent teleview interview. I got mad busy out of nowhere and never bothered doing it. Oh. Are you talking about for your job and all that? Yeah. I hear it's getting rough out there, especially as a introductory kind of thing. But have no shame. Like, technically speaking, my first ever professional tech job was, I was at Staples Easy Tech. Backup internet LTE. Yeah, so, I only have one device on T-Mobile, and that's my backup internet. So a lot of people don't know this, but you can get a backup internet plan for $20 a month. 5G from T-Mobile. I have an antenna that I installed outside to get better reception. I have a whole YouTube video, one of my earliest YouTube videos that talked about this. Yes, I do have a YouTube for anyone that's curious. I do try to make a video at least once a week if I can, once every other week at worst. You can get, I think, 50 gigabytes with that plan. It's perfect for a backup. So my PF Sense uses my cable internet as primary. 1 gigabit down, 50 gigabit up. For 35, get unlimited. Not for the hotspot. It doesn't work that way when you're talking the home internet plans. They give you the home internet device, and then it connects in there. But all I need, like, you have to understand, if I need more than 50 gigabytes of internet, something's bad. Because I, at most, use that modem 3 or 4 days a year. So, it's only there for the blips and the issues that happen. But yeah. But, so is Russia still welcome to hang out in U.S. networks with the offensive cybersecurity on hold? Probably. This whole freaking country's going weird with cybersecurity. This whole country's going weird, period. Trump's a schmuck. A lot of his policies are a schmuck. Well, that didn't make sense. A lot of his policies just don't make sense. Alright. So we're going to still hang out, talk tech and all that stuff. But I wanted to switch gears for a second. Because somebody was telling me there's been some changes in Path of Exile and all that, and I wanted to get back into playing that. Because the last time I played that, it was December. We can still talk tech and everything. But I wanted to see about getting this going. Because I remember when I was last there, I was a warrior, but I was having issues with... You get it spelled with S-C-H-M-O-D-K-S. That's Mox. Mox. Alright, let's see. Is the audio... There we go. That little script they ran beforehand, just so you're curious, that is pipe wire telling it to route audio through the HDMI and the, mixer I have. What comes after Satan? Santa! Not today, Santa! Come on. Why are you taking your sweet ass time? It's definitely grinding gears, all right. So we had Timmy the Barbarian. The job market is kind of weird right now. Oh, absolutely. It's been weird for a minute. So, if I remember... Wait, did the game just, like, freeze up? No. It just got glitchy for a second. Disables trading party. Okay. I'm curious. So you got... What classes do we have? Sorceress. We already got a warrior. Ranger.
Pagan! You failed to liberate... Pagan! You failed to liberate your brothers, just as you have failed in poisoning my subjects against me! Call out to your dream!
Hey, if I remember, Monk was that.
See if he answers!
Passive exile. Why can't Linux run exe files normally like Windows can? Why can't Windows run DMG and PKG files like Mac can? Different operating system, it's a different architecture. That's just how they're designed. Now to run exes on Linux, you just run it on Wine. You have a compatibility layer. We'll call him Timmy the Monk, because I ain't that original.
Don't let him escape!
Just got fired 4 days ago when I have interviews that I'm waiting out. Ooh. Is that why Gen Z is so bad at technology? Yeah, Gen Z's bad at technology because they haven't had to learn how to actually use computers like a lot of us millennials did. Better? So I forgot, like, one of the games I had before was very quiet in comparison. Now I'm trying a monk this time because I had issues with my warrior being, it was like apparently like one of the toughest classes to
Rest now. I will see about
it was one of the toughest classes for you to apparently like play the game through, from what I understood. But also all I had were maces at the times. Cool, we got a Curus. Did I change my game? Yeah, I did. Feel bad for them. I've had to explain torrenting to like 4 of them. Well, a lot of them literally haven't had to learn a lot of the basics we did with technology. They grew up in an era where technology was just supposed to work. Like, think about it this way. They were the first generation to just be handed a smartphone. We grew up with phones that literally were just phones. Text messaging was this new thing that came to us. God damn it. I forgot the commands.
Effective.
I forgot emojis didn't exist. Oh yeah, emojis came from the K phones, I think it was called. It came from the Japanese side of things, like the feature phones they had in Japan. Oh yeah, I forgot I have the roll move. I gotta relearn the game. But you know what? I'm already better than Elon Musk. Y'all know what I mean by that, right? Yeah, like, I remember before emojis, we had the whole, whatchamacallit? Emoticons. Do y'all remember that? Look, everyone knows that Apple invented emojis, okay? I still hate the fact that they, got rid of the, whatchamacallit, they turned the gun into a squirt gun for, like, no reason. Oh, we don't want violence in our world!
What is that?
God, I forget how weak you are in the start of the game. Look, Ma, no one's playing my account for me. I'm better than Elon. Fuck.
Thunder!
Come on. I still say that I like this game much better than I did,
Always beats raw strength.
Diablo. Diablo, it felt like it was just a little too easy, if that makes sense. Wait. You can't use certain skill gems? That's annoying. I think they got rid of the peach and the eggplant. Did they? Or did we just stop using it? Oh yeah, the skill tree. Oh, that's interesting. Normally you start over here with the warrior, so I guess we start over here. Plus 8 evasion rating, plus 5 to maximum shield. Plus 3% increased skill speed. Okay. You know, Apple really hasn't invented anything themselves in many years. That's the reality of things people need to understand. What are we looking for? The overlay map. Okay, so what do we have back here? I just want to make sure I'm fully exploring everything. Nope, nothing there. I really wish there was a way to run faster in this game. Are you sure the touch bar doesn't count? Apple was not the first one to really add a touch bar, and even they realized that it was a bad idea. They ripped that crap out, if you remember. People complained about it for years. My dad really likes it. Well, your dad's in the minority. Yeah, it really didn't work well, and it was such a point of easily breaking. Apple is actually really far behind on the innovation curve. I'm actually thinking of going to a Pixel 10 with Graphene OS as my primary everyday device.
Friendly's the name.
That was
You're
interesting.
skilled with the violence. Well, have no fear. I'll smith for you.
Hooray!
There's a beast. Now, if you could channel your violence against this
Killing
devourer, as Finn
palm.
calls it, we'd be indebted to you.
Wait, we have Glacial Cascade. What's this? Frozen Locusts. Oh, see, all this stuff is still not out there yet. They still don't have swords in Path of Exile, which is annoying. They still don't have axes. So they're still missing a lot of weapon classes, if you notice. So the occult. Let's see. Don't even have daggers in here. Cannot freeze. Burst radius is Frozen Locust. Oh, I already have that equipped. So it's Killing Palm, Glacial Cascade, or that. And we have some Elemental and some occult stuff. He's low-key an Apple fanboy, and his computer stays permanently parked on a kitchen table so I can see how he arrives at his opinion. Alright. Oh, god damn it! I did not mean to do that. Oh well.
To the cairns.
The discipline of the forge has taught him strength.
I meant to click that to see the video. I didn't mean to click it to do the thing.
I fear this land's sick.
Alright, buy or sell items.
What do you think?
Requires level 3. Evasion rating.
It's beautiful. I accept.
How the hell do I have 10,000 gold?
Goodbye.
I sense a kindred dreamer.
It definitely fell into the SASOP trend during the... Oh, slap a screen on it. Yeah, there's a lot of weird things that Apple does that's trendy, but you can tell that the iPhone is definitely what they're mostly focused on. Ooh. guess I could try that skill out. I'm so weak, man. I'm only a level 2. I miss computer. I want to play Monster Hunter Wilds World so bad. I haven't played that game yet. Is it any good? Is that the game where you basically are killing creatures that, you know, are just minding their own business? Wilds is good enough. World is what I started on and never finished. There's a narrative reason given to stab them. Sure. That's when you want to tell yourself. Damn rotten wolf. Let's see how far we can level him in a couple of, not a couple hours, but, at least like a half hour or so. We do have work tomorrow. They make stabbing enjoyable, and what else are video games? Shooting? Okay. The wall duration, projectile to fire damage, ice nova. Alright. Cool. Got that taken care of.
Creature.
Nice. We got Sparkies now. I got a shabby hood. Oh, so the other practice hunting analog. Wait, what? I mean, I hear good things about Monster Hunter Wilds, but I don't know. Okay, yeah, I can see how the monk is a little bit more useful than, say, the warrior. Because the warrior, like, it's totally a different feel than the barbarian in, what do you call it, Diablo.
Each victory is but another milestone.
Oh, you can only equip one? That's annoying. Gain 3 mana per enemy kill. %34 increased. That's interesting. I don't know, it kind of feels boring that I can, like, you know, do that and then... I mean, that just felt a little bit too easy. I don't know how I feel about that. Tattered robe. Giving an energy shield, +17. First a chocolate-covered gummy bear for the first time. Wait, what? That's only your first time having a chocolate-covered bunch gummy bear? You haven't lived, my friend! Make more bad choices. I don't know if I've eaten that before. Honestly, I'm not digging it, and trust me, I made plenty of those. And you haven't lived until you've tried a fried Oreo. I like fried Oreos. They're not the worst, but they're definitely bad for you. Yeah, you definitely need to flip back and forth to the staff and everything else.
Travel there and convey my order to return. Anyone refusing my authority should be considered a traitor and a criminal. Deal with them.
Things I'm getting used to because I'm so used to like warrior and stuff. This isn't Wolfenstein. The funny story about why I do that. I found a little loophole that came with TikTok's moderation because they were overly sensitive to a lot of my content for no reason. I got banned for hate speech and hateful behaviors just for talking and hanging out. It was stupid. My audience and VODs will tell you. Anyway, they seemed to not care when it was me playing Wolfenstein because obviously Wolfenstein has a lot of things in there, certain imagery and sayings. TikTok's moderation is questionable at best. Oh, absolutely. It's horrible. So, this is Path of Exile too. Okay, so I could have sworn this was a quest item.
Yes? I've collected these over time. What do you think?
Oh, I have a new skill point I forgot to use. Plus 8 evasion rating. If we go this way. Alright. Oh. I've got another quarterstaff. So I can swap that out.
Hello.
Alright, let's see.
Finn
Buy or
makes fun of my
sell.
collection, but I think it's charming.
We don't have anything bigger.
Another for my collection. Thank you.
Ring, ring, ring. Plus 9 evasion rating. Am I able to wear a ring? Yeah, I can. Alright.
I suppose I can let that
Spend
one
a
go.
little on that.
Stay safe, if you can.
Alright, we got our shields up a little bit. Nice.
Pitiless wretch.
I know what we should do. God damn it. Alright, so skills panel. We've got the quarterstaff strike there. We'll put falling thunder there. Falling thunder there. We'll put falling thunder here. And then we can put spark down here. Okay, now I can quickly switch between the two. Nice. Okay, so we probably want to go through the mud barrow over here. Now that we've cleared that out, we can clear that little dungeon-y thing. So there's that little thing at the tippy top, too.
A foul lair for a foul creature.
Are you calling me a foul creature because I didn't shower? let's see. Which way do we need to go? Alright, let's see how far. Oh, goddamn.
Subdue!
So the wand's not too bad. I can see how this game's a little bit easier as a monk, but it's just so weird to play this. Because, like, you have to time some of the attacks differently. Oh, I see how that contagion works. Nice. Okay. Contagion is kind of useful. Uh, 10% increased mana regeneration rate. Now let's boost the shield even more. Okay, we've got shields, baby. Oh, God, my triceps are still killing me from my workout. Okay, we get it. The goal is the quest is to search the mud barrow.
I must maintain the fire balance.
Okay, more shield. Go back to town. This game looks lame. Path of Exile 2 is pretty fun. This is the game that Elon Musk got called out at that he sucks at.
Sorry, I was just...
Play some GTA 5 online.
makes fun of my collection. Oh, I like this one.
I tried playing the new enhanced one, but it didn't want to play that well on my machine.
A full flask is a defiance of fate.
Okay, Musk.
Oh, I like this one.
I was wondering why I just didn't buy more scrolls earlier on. Dude. Grants level 2 freezing. Wait, you can't actually hit them? Such a weird way to
Stay
play.
safe if you can.
I don't like starting a game I purchased as a bottom tier player. You mean you don't like playing a video game and actually leveling up, and then learning the basics of how a game works, and then getting owned by low-level dudes because you had someone else do all the work? So basically what you're saying is you don't like to play video games. Just say that. I definitely like this game more than Diablo, but it's still definitely early days for it. I'll be interested to see what happens once they actually, add swords and everything. Nope, I like having fun. What fun is there if you don't do any of the work on the game? What, you just buy into it and then you click around and just basically waste a bunch of money on everything? Not fun until you have the big guns. Yeah, but there's no fun if you don't actually work for it. It's just like having anything in life. There's no alerts going off. What alerts? Work for the money to buy the game. So, with that attitude, may as well use the money on something else than paying someone else to play a video game for you. The reality is, people like Elon Musk didn't ever have to really work much in their life for anything, which is why they don't enjoy actually doing the work and seeing the reward of everything. Play a game of the top tier awesome gun wield gangster. You can do that when you put the work in, but if you don't know how to do the thing, then you're gonna look stupid. What's the point in playing a video game if you can't actually have any skill in it? Work is fun. You've never actually worked at anything and been proud of anything you've done?
What a twisted nightmare!
If you really think, you know, it really shows that you've never actually done anything you're proud of in your life, if you've never actually been like, you know, I don't actually enjoy all the work I put into everything. Damn. But a game is meant for fun. There's no fun if you just buy it. If you're just paying to advance in life, then you're not actually enjoying anything. You're just wasting your time and money. Damn. Come on. You're almost there.
Nightmares have no power against the light.
My opinion is cheat codes are fun. You don't do cheat codes in online games. So your point of like playing GTA 5 online and having cheat codes are fun, that's how you get banned from the game. So you're just here to troll, you can move on. Alright, let's see. Falling Thunder. There's that. Killing Palm. Can't be evaded. Okay, so I can't really do much with a bow, I think, with my guy. Oh. Got a Regal Shard. And an Ashen Staff. 40% increased fire damage. Level 2 Firebolt. +2 on all fire spells. Huh. Yay, Firebolts! Augments a rare item with a new modifier. Got 2 rare items. 13% increased mana regeneration rate. Nice.
Well,
Bam! That Firebolt's definitely got some power behind it, compared to the old stuff. I'm gonna hang on to that Ashen Staff. San Andreas with cheat codes is Prime Gaming Lab, but that's not GTA 5 Online. You literally, like, go play GTA 5 Online. San Andreas is a single-player game. You don't do cheat codes on online games. Like I said, dude, you want to troll? You can go elsewhere. No one's forcing you to stay. Alright, let's see what we can clear out in this dungeon. See, I'm slowly getting a little bit better with this monk class. Before I did everything as a warrior. Never mentioned cheat codes online. You're the one that's like GTA 5 Online. You're mixing up everything, dude. Like I said, you can scroll on if you don't like it.
Sorry, I was...
Never tried modding have you ever tried modding Mass Effect on Linux? I haven't honestly played Mass Effect since 3 came out on Xbox. Wait, can you do Mass Effect 1, 2, and 3 on PC? Like, can you buy them through Steam, or is that like the Microsoft Store thing? Because, I totally would be down to play Mass Effect again sometime. That was a great game series. Yeah, I'll definitely have to look into that. I just wanted to see where we were at with, they just remastered it a few years ago. Ooh! I may have to redo that, because I loved Mass Effect. It was a really great game series with a really great story. Hit a mod guy for Windows, halfway through 3. Like, what kind of mods?
But I think it's charming.
One of the first games I ever got into. Yeah, it's a Mass Effect was like, I remember when that came out, that was so amazing. It was a really amazing game. Being proud of video game accomplishments is unmasculine. That's how we know you're trolling, dude. If you're literally, like, worried about your masculinity, dude, get a life. Let's see.
I will treasure it.
Restored content, upgraded textures, expanded content, bug fixes, lighting fixes. You get Mass Effect Legendary, but need mods to make it as good on PC as it was in console. So what wasn't it as good with console? That's what I'm curious about.
These are just some odds and ends of mine. Bye.
Let's stash this. Oh, I got all my stash gear from my other dude here. Interesting. Console had extra content and post-processing that never got done on PC. Really? That's good to know. Interesting. So your stash actually transfers between all of your characters. That's really interesting, because like you can see, I kind of was going hard as a warrior here. Lots of rare items and everything. I'll definitely have to look into Mass Effect in the near future. Then modders restored unfinished content and added planned content, then they ran out of time. Huh. Interesting. I'll have to look into it and see if I can do modding on the Linux side of things. Dude, if you're really tying masculinity to playing a video game, when all I was saying, like, just some of us like to actually play a video game the way through rather than pay someone else and all that, you're the one that was like, masculinity is tied to my video game. Yeah. So they definitely still have some more stuff to do when it comes to Path of Exile 2 and all of that stuff, but I think they're shaping up with it a little bit. And like I told you, Danny, you can go somewhere else and troll if you like. I mean, no one's forcing you to stay here. And like I said, if you're really tying masculinity of all things into playing a video game, you got some bigger problems, my dude. But anyway. All right. But it's getting a little bit late. I got work in the morning, so I will see y'all later. Thanks for joining me. And if you haven't, number one gifter. Yeah, that don't mean squatting anything. Come in here being toxic and everything, tying in video games and everything to like, well, you know, it's non-masculine and all that. Not everyone playing video games is a dude. Women play video games too. Does playing video games and affect their masculinity? Yeah, but anyway, thank you all for joining me. If you haven't already, make sure to follow me on all of my socials. I'm on Blue Sky. I'm on Mastodon. I am also on Twitch. I'm on YouTube. I'm on TikTok. And then, of course, we have the Discord and the Matrix. I will see you all next time. So, Tuesday, we'll be back. Thank you all. Happy hacking. Stay safe out there. And if you're on Twitch, stick around for the raid. Otherwise, see you in the Discord. And next stream on Tuesday.